We all know that life can feel chaotic, whether it's a mind racing at 3 a.m. or emotions hitting harder than a crashing wave during a storm. Yet even in the loudest moments, there's a quiet place inside us that waits to be found. Tonight, we explore that space with gentle Buddhist wisdom. In today's video, we'll talk about finding calm in chaos through the Buddha's guidance. So let's not waste any time, and let's begin. As you settle into the quiet of this moment, let your breath soften just a little more. The world around you may still be moving, but here, right now, nothing is being asked of you. You've stepped into a space where the noise can finally loosen its grip. And as your body becomes heavier, your thoughts begin to drift in slow, gentle currents, almost as if your mind is preparing to show you the landscape within. Imagine yourself standing at the edge of that inner world, noticing the horizon of your own thoughts, emotions, and memories. At first, everything may appear blurred, filled with restless energy. Worries tumble over each other like waves that haven't learned where to settle. There might be old conversations echoing somewhere in the distance, or the memory of something you didn't finish lingering like leftover heat. This is the storm most people carry without realizing, the constant swirl of unfinished feelings, unanswered questions, and quiet fears. Take a moment to observe it, not to judge, not to fix, just to see. The wind of your thoughts might whip around quickly at first, circling in rapid bursts. You might notice flashes of yesterday's stress, moments of frustration, or emotions that feel too heavy to name. Let the storm be what it is. Let it move and shift, knowing that storms are not meant to stay forever. Even the strongest wind eventually learns to grow quiet. As you continue to watch this inner world, something changes. A presence begins to form at the heart of the chaos. Not loud, not dramatic, simply there. Gentle, steady, warm. The figure of the Buddha appears in the center of the swirling storm, seated in stillness, as if the winds could not touch him. He doesn't speak yet. He doesn't need to. His calm is its own language, a softness that spreads outward like ripples on a quiet lake. You notice how the storm reacts, how the winds begin to slow around him, how the darkest clouds lose a little of their weight. The Buddha doesn't chase the storm away. He simply remains present, fully, completely, without resistance. And by just being there, the storm begins to loosen around him, like knots gently unwinding. You step closer, drawn not by force, but by comfort. There's something in his stillness that feels familiar, as if some part of you has known this peace before. Maybe in a childhood moment when you felt safe. Maybe in a rare night of deep sleep. Or maybe in those fleeting seconds when everything inside you feels perfectly aligned. The Buddha looks up at you, not with intensity, but with kindness. And you realize he's seeing you exactly as you are. Not the version you show others. Not the version that tries to hold everything together. Just you, exactly as you are in this moment. His presence invites you to pause. Just pause. The storm continues to swirl, but you don't have to be caught in it. He teaches you this without a single word. You sit beside him, feeling the ground beneath you, noticing the slow rise and fall of your chest. Every inhale feels a little deeper. Every exhale releases something small, something you no longer need to hold. The storm no longer feels frightening. It feels like a natural part of your inner world, something that simply needs patience and presence, something that softens when observed with compassion rather than fear. You notice the tension in your shoulders beginning to fade. The heaviness in your mind lifts ever so slightly. The Buddha's stillness becomes a mirror, showing you what your own stillness can become. Time feels different here, slower, softer. The noise inside begins to quiet itself, not because it was forced, but because it finally feels seen. You don't need answers yet. You don't need solutions. All you need is this moment of watching the storm with gentle awareness, just as the Buddha does. As the winds settle into calmer patterns, you begin to sense a quiet shift. The Buddha turns his gaze toward the horizon of your inner world, as if showing you that there is more ahead, more peace to uncover, more clarity to breathe into, more softness to experience. His presence gently guides your attention to your breath, the simplest and most honest part of you. You notice how your breath moves, how it flows without asking for permission, how it continues to nourish you even when you forget about it. The Buddha's eyes soften further, silently inviting you to follow the breath into deeper calm. And as you sit there, beside the one who knows how to stay centered even in the middle of a storm, you begin to feel ready for the next step. A step not into silence alone, but into a deeper relationship with your own breathing. The storm has eased enough. The mind has softened enough. The heart has opened just a little more. You're ready to be guided further, to learn how the breath can steady the chaos, how it can become the anchor that holds you gently through every shifting moment. And so, with the Buddha's presence beside you, you take your next quiet step inward, letting your breath become the path you follow next. The quiet you've begun to feel drifts with you as you sit beside the Buddha. The storm around you has softened, settling into a slow, rhythmic sway, like the remnants of waves after a long night tide. You can still sense movement in your thoughts, but it no longer feels overwhelming. Instead, it feels like the mind is offering you a chance to understand it more deeply, to move with it rather than against it. The Buddha, still calm and steady, gently tilts his head toward your breathing, guiding you without a single spoken word. So you turn your attention inward, toward the simple rise and fall that has been with you since the moment you were born. The breath is subtle, but it is there. Quiet, dependable, soft. At first, you may feel like you have to try to follow it, almost as if you're chasing something slippery. But the Buddha's presence reminds you that there is no chase here. There is only noticing, nothing more. Your breath fills your chest like a slow tide creeping onto the shore, then recedes with the same steady certainty. Each inhale gathers your scattered pieces, and each exhale releases what you no longer need. You begin to realize how much the breath has carried for you without complaint. It anchors you without asking for gratitude. It stays with you even when your mind wanders far from peace. Nearby, the Buddha's own breathing is barely visible, but you can sense its stability. It's as though his breath is the calm center of the entire inner landscape, the quiet rhythm that teaches without speaking. As you follow that steady pattern, your own breath begins to find its natural pace, slower, deeper, warmer. The storm continues to fade into the distance, becoming more like a memory than a presence. With each inhale, you feel yourself expanding gently, creating more space inside your chest and your mind. With each exhale, you let something small drift away. Maybe tension, maybe an old worry, maybe the pressure to hold everything together. Whatever slips away with the breath leaves room for something softer to grow. The Buddha watches with a quiet knowing, as if he sees each moment your breath helps lighten the load. Occasionally, he closes his eyes, inviting you to do the same. With your eyes shut, the inner world feels even more vivid. You can sense your heartbeat, the temperature of your skin, the way your body shifts slightly with every breath. You're not just breathing, you're returning to yourself piece by piece. The air around you seems to reflect your newfound calm. The once chaotic winds now move like gentle breezes, brushing softly against your awareness. Each breath pulls you further from the chaos and closer to the quiet center the Buddha rests in. As you breathe, the sense of being overwhelmed loosens its grip, making room for clarity. The Buddha finally speaks, though the words feel more like warm vibrations than sound. He tells you that the breath is a bridge, one that connects your body to your mind, your awareness to your heart. It is the one place you can always return to when storms rise. A raft in choppy waters, a lamp in the dark, a friend that never leaves your side. As you follow the breath more steadily, you begin to understand what he means. Every inhale brings nourishment. Every exhale brings freedom. You're not pushing thoughts away. You're just letting the breath guide you underneath them, like slipping beneath the surface of a restless ocean where everything becomes calm. In this space, the Buddha invites you to notice something new. The brief, quiet pause between your inhale and your exhale. It's small, almost invisible, but it's there. A moment of complete stillness, a doorway into deeper peace. You rest inside that tiny pause for a heartbeat, and in that instant, the entire inner world feels weightless, as if nothing could disturb this silence. As the pause releases into the next breath, you feel clearer, more grounded than before. The Buddha smiles softly, recognizing the shift within you. The storm has not disappeared, but your relationship to it has changed. You no longer feel swept away. Instead, you feel anchored, steady, connected to something deeper than the noise. You sit with the Buddha a little longer, feeling the breath guide you into a sense of harmony. There's a new curiosity rising within you, gentle, patient, ready. Now that the breath has steadied your inner world, you feel prepared to look more closely at the thoughts that drift through your mind. The Buddha senses this readiness and turns his gaze toward the deeper layers of your awareness. You feel yourself leaning inward with him, knowing the next step is waiting quietly ahead. You breathe in, breathe out, and step with him toward understanding where thoughts come from, how they move, and why they no longer have to control you. The Buddha's gaze moves toward the horizon of your inner world, and you follow it naturally, still anchored by the slow rhythm of your breath. The quiet you've built within yourself feels like a soft cushion beneath your awareness, steady and warm. With each inhale, you sense a growing clarity, and with each exhale, the last bits of tension drift farther away. You're no longer standing in a storm. You're sitting in a clearing that the breath has gently swept open for you. In this clearing, something new comes into view. Your thoughts themselves, moving like small shapes in the distance. The Buddha lifts a hand and gestures toward one of these drifting shapes. It flickers like a tiny lantern, glowing with the energy of something half remembered, half imagined. You watch it slowly rise from the mist, travel a few steps through the air of your awareness, and dissolve back into nothing. Then another one appears, and another. Some bright, some heavy, some small, like a spark, others large, like a passing cloud. Each one arises, exists for a moment, and fades. You realize, as you watch, that this is the nature of thought. Nothing stays. Nothing remains fixed. A thought is born, moves, dissolves, and is replaced by another. Yet in everyday life, these flickering shapes often feel like anchors, heavy, solid, undeniable. Here, beside the Buddha, watching them from a distance, they seem lighter, more fluid, almost delicate. The Buddha explains softly that thoughts do not come from a single place. Instead, they arise from countless conditions, memories, sensations, habits, fears, hopes, and even random echoes inside the mind. They appear like sparks from a fire, not because they were commanded, but because that is simply what a fire does. Seeing this clearly brings a strange sense of comfort. You no longer feel the need to chase every thought or fight the ones that frighten you. One thought drifts close enough for you to feel its presence. Maybe it is a worry, a memory, or something unresolved. You watch it without trying to grab hold of it. Instead of tightening around it, you breathe. The thought softens at the edges, like a painted shape in the rain. It moves past you slowly, without the weight it once carried. And just like the others, it dissolves. The Buddha's expression is warm, almost serene, as he shows you how effortless the mind becomes when observed with compassion instead of resistance. He places a gentle hand over his heart, inviting you to do the same, not as a ritual, but as a reminder that you are not your thoughts. You are the space in which they appear. You are the sky, not the clouds. The thoughts come and go, but the sky remains. As you watch more closely, you notice different types of thoughts moving through your awareness. Some are sharp and fast, like startled birds. Others feel slow and heavy, dragging long trails behind them. A few are so faint they disappear before you even recognize them. Instead of clinging to them, you simply breathe, and each one finds its own path, its own rhythm, its own conclusion. You begin to understand that thoughts lose their power when they are seen instead of avoided. When you give them space to move, they begin to move on their own. The Buddha's presence helps you feel this truth not as an idea, but as an experience happening right now within you. He leans slightly toward you and points to a thought that carries a bit more weight than the others. It rises with a dull glow, thick with old emotion. You feel a hint of discomfort as it approaches, but instead of tightening, you breathe again, letting your chest rise gently, letting your body stay soft. The thought pauses for a moment, as if surprised by your calm. Then it fades, slowly but surely, leaving behind a faint trace that dissolves into the quiet. You realize in this moment that observing your thoughts does not require effort. It requires patience, and patience grows naturally when the breath is steady, when the heart is open, when fear loosens its hold. The Buddha's eyes meet yours, shining with approval, as if saying without words that you have taken an important step inward. The inner landscape feels different now, clearer, lighter, more spacious. You can sense thoughts rising and falling like small waves, but none of them pull you under. They move through a space that feels wide and gentle, a space you didn't know you had within you. As the Buddha rises slowly to his feet, you follow, feeling grounded and calm. He gestures toward a softer path leading deeper into your inner world, a path shaped not by thought, but by emotion. The winds here feel warmer, carrying hints of old feelings that rest beneath the surface of your awareness. You take a breath, feeling steady and open, ready to explore what lies within the heart. And with the Buddha walking beside you, you step gently into the realm where emotions rise like waves, not to overwhelm you, but to be understood at last. As you walk with the Buddha along the quiet path of your inner world, the air begins to shift. It grows warmer, filled with a subtle hum, like the distant vibration of a drum you can't quite hear, but somehow feel beneath your ribs. Thoughts drift behind you now, soft and harmless, leaving space for something deeper to rise. Something that has always lived beneath the thinking mind. The Buddha pauses beside you, and the world around you gently opens, revealing a vast inner ocean stretching out in all directions. The surface of this ocean is calm in some places and trembling in others, shimmering with colors that shift and fade, like reflections in rippling water. As you step closer, you sense the truth of what this ocean represents. It is the realm of your emotions, the joys, fears, loves, aches, hopes, and heaviness you've carried through every chapter of your life. Each wave carries something familiar. Each movement reflects something felt. The Buddha guides you to the water's edge, inviting you to observe. A small wave rises near your feet, glowing faintly with the memory of a moment that once made you smile. It touches the shore lightly, then retreats. Another wave swells behind it, this one painted with a deeper shade, perhaps an old disappointment or a sadness that once lingered longer than you wished. You watch this wave approach slowly, noticing how it grows, pauses, and then fades back into the vastness. None of the waves stay. None of them try to claim the shore. They rise, crest and fall, each one completing its natural and gentle cycle. The Buddha speaks softly, explaining that emotions are not chains meant to bind you. They are movements of the heart, temporary visitors, not permanent residents. You feel the truth of this as the waves continue their rhythm. Emotions rise because the heart feels deeply, because you care, because you're human. They crest because the heart tries to protect you or express something you haven't yet named. And they fall because no emotion, no matter how strong, is designed to stay forever. You kneel by the shore of this inner sea, watching a larger wave form in the distance. Its color is heavier, carrying the weight of something you may have struggled with before. A fear, a memory, a moment of loss. As it moves toward you, you feel a familiar tightening in your chest, the instinct to brace yourself. But the Buddha places a gentle hand on your shoulder, reminding you to breathe. And so you do. The breath softens the tension, loosening the grip of fear. The wave comes closer, rises high, and you watch without turning away. When it reaches you, it does not crash. It simply lifts, hesitates, and breaks with surprising gentleness at your feet. The emotion swells, peaks, and passes. You feel its presence, but you are not swallowed by it. Instead, you sense how it dissolves into the larger ocean, its weight melting into something vast and open. The Buddha nods, pleased by your courage, by your willingness to feel without running. The more you observe, the more patterns you notice. Some waves carry warmth, moments of kindness, gratitude, laughter. They arrive like soft golden ripples and wash over your awareness with ease. Other waves carry old wounds or confusion. They approach with a heavier pull, but even those waves fall in time. The heart does not hold on to anything forever. It moves through seasons, just as the ocean moves through tides. The Buddha invites you to stand, to place your hand over your heart, and feel the way it beats beneath your palm. It beats through joy. It beats through fear. It beats through every rise and fall of every emotional wave you have ever known. The heart is not fragile. It is resilient. It knows how to release. It knows how to heal. It knows how to rise again and again. A gentle breeze moves across the ocean, smoothing its surface. You feel a new softness spreading through your chest, a space opening where tension once lived. The Buddha smiles, sensing that something within you has let go. Perhaps not everything, perhaps not all at once, but something has loosened, and that is enough for now. As you step back from the shoreline, the inner ocean grows quieter, settling into a calm rhythm. The emotions still move, but they no longer feel threatening. They feel natural, like breathing, like waking and sleeping, like the ebb and flow of life itself. The Buddha turns his attention toward your physical self, sensing that while the heart has begun to soften, the body may still hold the memory of old burdens. He guides you gently along a path, leading toward a more grounded place within you. A place where your muscles, your shoulders, your jaw, and every tense corner of your body can begin to release what they've carried for far too long. You follow him, ready to let your body enter the same ease your heart has begun to discover. The path beneath your feet shifts as you follow the Buddha, becoming softer, warmer, almost like fine sand warmed by morning sunlight. With each step, your body becomes more noticeable, not in a heavy way, but in a way that reminds you that you live inside it, that you move through the world with it, that it has held every story you've ever lived. The Buddha walks slowly, allowing you to feel each sensation as it rises. The weight in your shoulders, the tightness in your jaw, the subtle ache in your back that you may have ignored for days or weeks. He pauses in a quiet clearing, surrounded by stillness. The air here feels different, heavy enough to make you aware of your own presence, light enough to ease the space around you. The Buddha gestures for you to sit, and when you do, the ground welcomes you like a gentle cushion. He invites you to notice your body exactly as it is right now, without trying to fix anything, without trying to change what you feel. At first, you may sense a resistance. The body often holds stories long after the mind has moved on. Old stress, old fear, old exhaustion. They settle into the muscles like guests who have overstayed. Your shoulders may feel like they've been bracing against something unseen. Your stomach may still carry echoes of past worries. Even your hands might be clasped tightly without you realizing it. As you scan through these sensations, the Buddha watches with compassion, understanding how deeply the body learns to protect itself. He places his hand over his heart, signaling for you to take a slow, mindful breath. As you inhale, feel the breath reaching down into your belly, expanding gently. As you exhale, imagine a small release, nothing dramatic, just the tiniest softening, as though your muscles have been given permission to rest for the first time in a long while. The Buddha's breath moves with yours, patient and steady, showing you there is no rush. Relaxation cannot be forced. It can only be invited. You bring your attention to your shoulders next. Notice how they rise slightly with tension. Notice how familiar that feeling is. Maybe you've been carrying invisible weight, responsibilities, expectations, or the pressure to appear strong even when you feel fragile. As you breathe again, the Buddha lifts his shoulders slightly, then lets them fall with complete ease. You follow, letting your own shoulders drop just a little lower. The space between your neck and ears widens. Warmth spreads down your arms. Next, you bring awareness to your hands resting in your lap. Perhaps they are curled, holding the residue of urgency or stress. The Buddha uncurls his fingers slowly, letting them rest openly, palms relaxed. You mirror his movement, opening your hands as though releasing all the things you've been gripping without noticing. Frustration, fear, unfinished tasks, emotional knots. Your hands feel lighter, almost tingling with relief. You feel the breath move down your spine now, like a subtle wave. As you exhale, the muscles along your back begin to loosen. The Buddha's presence makes the process feel safe, as if each breath washes tension away, layer by layer. Your chest softens, your jaw unclenches. Even the muscles around your eyes relax, easing into a gentler expression. The Buddha guides you to notice your legs, the foundation of your posture. Sometimes they carry restlessness, the impulse to run from difficult emotions or stressful moments. But now, here, they are still. As you breathe, they relax into the ground, supported by the earth beneath you. You feel rooted, stable, connected. With each inhale, your body expands gently into the space around you. With each exhale, the armor you've worn for so long begins to melt away. No effort, no force. just the natural release that comes when safety replaces strain. The Buddha looks at you with a soft, knowing smile. You can tell he sees the shift within you, a softening, not just of muscle, but of the layers of protection that have wrapped around you for years. The body, once tense and guarded, now rests with ease, open to the quiet support of the present moment. As the calm spreads through you, you begin to feel something subtle beneath it, something warm and gentle like the first glow of dawn. It isn't thought, it isn't tension. It's something deeper, something that stirs beneath the quiet surface of your chest. The Buddha turns his gaze toward that inner glow, inviting you to follow. You place a hand lightly over your heart and feel the faint pulse beneath your palm. It beats softly, steadily, carrying emotions that are ready to be understood. Now that the body is soft, the heart can finally speak in whispers instead of cries. The Buddha steps beside you, guiding you toward that inner voice, the quiet wisdom that waits within your heart, ready to be heard. The Buddha's eyes rest gently on your hand as it lies over your heart, and a warm silence settles around you. The body has softened, the breath has steadied, and now the quiet rhythm beneath your palm begins to draw your attention inward. You can feel it clearly, the subtle pulse that has been with you every moment of your life, asking for nothing, giving everything. As you notice it, the Buddha steps a little closer, as if guiding you toward a doorway only you can walk through. The heart speaks differently from the mind. It doesn't form sentences or arguments. It doesn't race or scatter like thoughts do. Instead, it offers gentle impressions, soft nudges, warm currents, a sense of knowing that can't be forced or rushed. You sit in the stillness, letting the pulse guide you into a deeper layer of awareness. Beneath everything you've carried, your worries, your hopes, your doubts, there is a steady hum, a whisper that has always been present but rarely heard. The Buddha encourages you to breathe slowly, letting each inhale open your chest like a window. As your chest expands, the whisper grows clearer, almost like the faint rustling of leaves in a distant grove. You don't need to decode it or give it meaning. You simply allow it to exist. The more you listen, the more you realize that the heart has been waiting patiently for this moment, for the noise to quiet, for the tension to soften, for you to have enough space to hear what it has been trying to tell you. A small warmth spreads across your chest, tender and almost fragile. It may be the memory of a kindness you once received, or a longing you've held close but never spoken aloud. It may be a reminder that you are worthy of gentleness, even when you forget. The whisper carries no judgment. It brings only truth, the kind that feels like a soft hand resting lightly on your shoulder, steadying you, reminding you that you are more than the storms you've weathered. The Buddha kneels beside you, his presence calm and grounded. He invites you to imagine your heart as a pool of still water. When you look into it, you see reflections, not of chaos, but of clarity. Ripples form gently with each breath. You notice how emotions drift across the surface, but beneath them lies something deeper, something untouched. That is where the heart's wisdom lives, waiting for moments like this. You breathe into the pool, letting its surface grow even smoother. Then, from the depth, a feeling rises, quiet but undeniable. Perhaps it is a longing for peace. Perhaps a small ache asking to be held. Perhaps a flicker of gratitude for the calm you are finally beginning to feel. Whatever it is, you let it come. You let it be heard. The Buddha watches with a soft smile, knowing this is where healing begins, not in loud revelations, but in gentle recognitions. Another feeling rises, this one a bit heavier. It may be an old sorrow, or a regret you've carried close to the ribs. Instead of tensing, you stay present. You breathe. The Buddha places a hand over his own heart, guiding you to treat this emotion not as an enemy, but as a child who simply wants to be understood. And as you allow yourself to feel it without running, the heaviness begins to dissolve, its edges softening, its weight lifting as though carried by a warm breeze. You realize the heart never tries to overwhelm you. It only tries to communicate. It only asks to be heard with patience and compassion. Even the emotions you feared most are simply messages waiting to be acknowledged. When you give them space, they lose their bite and reveal their true shape. Needs, hopes, truths that make you more human, not more fragile. A light grows in your chest now, subtle but steady. It feels like the beginning of connection, first to yourself, then to everything around you. The Buddha senses this opening and gently places his palm over your hand, reinforcing that warmth. The whisper becomes clearer, revealing a truth you may have forgotten, that your heart is capable of deep compassion, both for yourself and for others. The Buddha rises slowly, encouraging you to stand with him. Your chest feels open, soft, receptive. The whisper continues within you, guiding you forward like a lantern in the dark. As you walk beside him, you sense a new tenderness forming, a readiness to expand the love you found within your heart outward into the world. Ahead, the path brightens with a gentle glow, filled with warmth that feels larger than anything you've felt so far. It is the energy of compassion, boundless and transformative, calling you to explore it next. You take a breath, feeling the whisper in your chest grow stronger, guiding you toward the place where compassion unfolds like a blooming lotus. The glow along the path ahead grows warmer as you walk with the Buddha, and the soft whisper in your heart becomes a steady presence, guiding each step. The air itself seems to thicken with tenderness, as though the world around you is gently leaning closer, welcoming the opening within you. What began as a quiet pulse in your chest now expands outward like a slow, radiant sunrise. The Buddha pauses, placing one hand lightly over his heart, encouraging you to feel the warmth gathering inside your own. It spreads softly through your chest, as if your heart has been waiting a long time for permission to open fully. You stand in a clearing filled with a gentle golden light. It isn't bright or overpowering. It feels more like the first light of dawn, soft, warm, comforting. The Buddha gestures toward that light, inviting you to explore it not with your eyes, but with the tenderness rising within your heart. You close your eyes, and in the darkness behind your lids, the warmth grows even stronger, filling your entire chest. You feel it spreading through your shoulders, your arms, your fingertips, as though your whole body is learning a new language, one spoken in kindness. The Buddha begins to speak, his voice low and steady, explaining that compassion is not something you force or create from nothing. It is something already inside you, waiting to be acknowledged. It emerges naturally when the heart feels safe, when the mind grows quiet, when the body relaxes its grip. You sense this truth as the warmth flows through you, soft but powerful, like a gentle river finding its way past stones that once blocked its movement. He guides you to imagine someone you care about standing before you. It could be a family member, a friend, someone you haven't seen in a long time, or even a person who helped you in a small, forgotten moment. You picture them clearly, the shape of their face, the warmth in their eyes, the sound of their voice when they speak gently. As you hold their image in your mind, the warmth in your heart expands, flowing toward them like a soft light. You send them a simple wish. May you be safe. May you find peace. May your heart feel light. You can almost see the warmth envelop them, softening their expression, easing something within them. It feels natural. It feels right. The Buddha's smile widens slightly as he sees the compassion flowing from you with ease. He kneels beside you and encourages you to let that feeling grow, to allow it to become wider, larger, more spacious. Now, he invites you to think of someone you barely know, perhaps a stranger from a passing moment, a face in a crowd, someone whose name you never learned. You picture them, stillness surrounding their image, and the warmth from your heart reaches toward them just as easily. You send them the same wish. May you be safe. May you find peace. May your heart feel light. The compassion grows, stretching the boundaries of your awareness. Next, the Buddha gently encourages you to bring to mind someone you struggle with, someone who has caused difficulty or tension in your life. A subtle tightness may appear in your chest as their image forms, but you breathe softly, remembering the calm you've cultivated. The Buddha reminds you that compassion is not agreement. It is not approval. It is simply the recognition that every being carries pain, and every being wishes to be free from suffering. You let your breath soften your resistance, and slowly, gradually, the warmth in your heart reaches toward them too. The wish may be harder to send, but it is also the most transformative. May you be safe. May you find peace. May your heart feel light. You feel your chest expand with a gentle ache, not of pain, but of release. The Buddha places his hand on your back, grounding you as the compassion within you grows into something larger than personal emotions. It becomes spacious, wide like the sky, reaching outward in all directions without effort. You begin to understand that compassion is not limited by relationships or history. It is a natural capacity of the heart, one that grows stronger the more it is shared. The golden light in the clearing pulses gently, as if responding to the compassion flowing from you. It reflects off the inner landscape, illuminating places that once felt dark or heavy. Your heart feels lighter now, more open, more spacious. The Buddha's gaze softens, knowing that you have touched something profound within yourself, something that will continue to guide you long after this moment. You stand quietly, feeling the lingering warmth settle deep within your chest. Compassion has begun to reshape the way you see yourself, others, and the world around you. With that openness comes something else, an awareness of old hurts that have been waiting quietly at the edges of your heart. They rise gently now, softened by compassion, ready to be understood and finally released. The Buddha steps beside you once more, turning toward a gentle path that leads deeper into the heart's landscape. You follow him, feeling the warmth of compassion guiding your steps toward the place where forgiveness begins to unfold. The path ahead narrows into a gentle corridor of soft light, and as you walk with the Buddha, the warmth of compassion continues to glow quietly within your chest. You feel steadier, more open, more willing to see the parts of yourself you once avoided. The Buddha senses this readiness and slows his pace, allowing the silence to settle around you like a comforting blanket. The air becomes still, almost expectant, as though this part of your inner world has been waiting a long time for your arrival. You breathe in gently, feeling the glow in your heart soften the ground beneath your feet. In this stillness, faint shapes begin to emerge from the shadows. Memories, emotions, echoes of moments you never fully healed from. They do not rush toward you. They simply linger at the edges of your awareness, fragile and hesitant, like children, afraid to be seen. The Buddha stops beside one of them, his presence soft and inviting. He doesn't tell you to be strong. He doesn't tell you to forget. Instead, he encourages you to look with the same compassion you cultivated moments ago, the same warmth that opened your heart. One of these shapes steps forward, carrying the weight of an old hurt. You feel it in your chest immediately, a familiar heaviness, a tightening, maybe even a small ache you thought had faded. The Buddha looks at you with deep understanding, reminding you that pain held inside the heart never disappears on its own. It waits for moments like this, when you finally have enough gentleness within you to face it without fear. You allow the hurt to come closer. It may arrive as a memory, a face, a feeling, or simply a weight with no clear origin. You do not push it away. You let it stand before you, just as it is. The Buddha places his hand lightly over yours, grounding you. He guides you to take a slow breath, letting the warmth of compassion rise once more, filling your chest, softening the rigidity that this hurt once carved into you. As you breathe, something unexpected happens. The hurt shifts. It doesn't feel as sharp as it once did. It doesn't loom as large. For the first time, you see not the wound itself, but the part of you that suffered through it, the part that tried to stay strong, the part that carried its weight alone. This realization opens a deep tenderness within you. Compassion flows toward that younger version of yourself, embracing the pain, not with judgment, but with understanding. The Buddha explains quietly that letting go does not mean forgetting, nor pretending the hurt never existed. It means no longer allowing it to pull at your heart with the same force. It means loosening your grip on the story you had to repeat in order to survive. You feel the truth of this as you breathe again, letting the compassion inside you reach toward the hurt like warm sunlight melting frost. Slowly, the shape before you begins to lighten. The heaviness it carried starts to dissolve, as if the warmth of your awareness unties the knots that held it together. You watch as the hurt softens, its edges blurring, its weight lifting. It isn't disappearing out of denial. It's dissolving because it has finally been acknowledged, finally been held with the compassion it always needed. Another lingering hurt emerges, smaller but still tender. It might be a disappointment, a broken trust, a moment when someone's words cut deeper than they knew. You feel a faint tension return to your body, but this time you know how to meet it. You breathe softly, letting the warmth expand again. The Buddha stands beside you, steady and calm, guiding your gaze gently toward that emotion. You extend the same compassion toward it, watching as it softens too. The clearing grows brighter as the weight you've carried begins to release. You feel lighter, as though space is opening inside you. Space for peace, for clarity, for breath. The Buddha smiles, seeing the shift within you, sensing how the old hurts have begun to unbind themselves from your heart. He invites you to place both hands over your chest now, feeling the openness that has taken root. Old pain may still exist, but it no longer holds the same power. It no longer controls the way you move, breathe, or see yourself. You have not run from it. You have not buried it. You have faced it with compassion, and in doing so, you have freed yourself. The Buddha turns toward a wider, softer path leading out of the clearing. Your heart feels spacious, unburdened, ready to understand life in a deeper, more peaceful way. As you walk beside him, the world around you shifts again, opening into a gentle landscape that seems to breathe with the rhythm of change itself. The Buddha looks ahead, guiding you toward the truth that everything in life rises, fades, and transforms. And with your heart now unburdened, you step forward, ready to understand the nature of impermanence. You follow the Buddha along a wider path, the light around you shifting in gentle waves as though the world itself is breathing. The clearing of old hurts slowly fades behind you, leaving a soft spaciousness in its place. With each step, you feel lighter, as if the air is moving through you more freely. The Buddha walks ahead with steady, deliberate calm, his robes trailing softly behind him like ripples across still water. He stops near a quiet hillside where the landscape opens into a view that feels vast and comforting at the same time. The sky above you shifts in colors, pale yellow at one edge, cool blue at another, with streaks of fading rose. You watch as the colors blend, change, and soften with every passing heartbeat. Nothing stays the same, even for a moment. The Buddha gestures toward the sky, encouraging you to simply observe. The clouds drift freely, forming shapes only to dissolve seconds later. Their impermanence feels gentle, natural, like a reminder whispered in the wind that everything changes, whether we're ready or not. The Buddha speaks softly, explaining that change is not an enemy, though the mind often resists. Everything in life transforms. The breath, the seasons, the cells in your body, your emotions, your relationships, even your thoughts. He invites you to notice the breeze brushing against your skin, cool and light. You reach out gently, catching a tiny leaf that has loosened from a nearby tree. You watch it rest in your palm, small and delicate, before the wind lifts it again and carries it forward. Nothing clings, nothing remains fixed. As the Buddha guides you to sit beside him on the hillside, you begin to feel a deep sense of acceptance settling into your chest. He points to a flower nearby, its petals bright but slowly sliding toward dusk. You watch as it sways gently, knowing tomorrow it will open differently, or perhaps not at all. Yet its beauty is not diminished by that truth. If anything, the impermanence makes the moment more precious. The Buddha explains that clinging to what must naturally evolve is what creates suffering. When we soften our grip, life becomes more fluid, more peaceful. You close your eyes for a moment, feeling the subtle shifts happening inside your own body. Your breath rises and falls, each inhale slightly different from the last. Your heartbeat pulses with a rhythm that changes depending on your emotion. Even the calm, growing inside you, has its own rhythm, expanding and deepening, shifting like the tide. Nothing stays frozen. Everything flows. When you open your eyes again, the Buddha invites you to think about moments in your life when change brought discomfort. Times when you wished something could stay exactly as it was. When you feared losing what you loved, or struggled to adapt when the world moved faster than you could follow. A soft ache forms in your chest, not painful, but reflective. The Buddha encourages you to breathe into that ache, letting the compassion cultivated earlier cradle it gently. You begin to see that resistance to change doesn't stop it from happening. It only prevents you from moving with it. He guides you to remember times when change brought unexpected growth. Moments when new beginnings emerged from painful endings. When clarity rose from confusion. When strength formed from challenges you never thought you could face. These memories warm you from within, showing you the quiet resilience that has always lived inside you. The Buddha tells you that understanding impermanence does not mean losing what you love. It means appreciating it more fully, knowing that each moment is unique and unrepeatable. As you watch the landscape below, you notice tiny details you hadn't seen before. The shifting shimmer of grass, the way sunlight fades into evening, the tiny rustle of insects moving in the distance. Each detail is alive, constantly transforming. You feel the truth of impermanence, not just in your mind, but in your entire body, as though every cell is absorbing the lesson. You begin to relax more deeply, not because the world is steady, but because you've learned that steadiness comes from within, not from what surrounds you. The Buddha places a gentle hand on your shoulder and points toward a quiet stream flowing nearby. You walk with him to the edge and crouch beside the water. The stream moves effortlessly, never repeating the same pattern twice. Every ripple is new. Every glimmer of light across its surface lasts only an instant. You dip your fingers into the cool water, feeling it slip between them, impossible to hold. And yet, its beauty lies in its movement, not in its stillness. A calm understanding spreads through you. That life, like the stream, is meant to flow. The Buddha watches you with warm eyes, recognizing the shift within you, a deeper softness and acceptance blooming in your chest. You feel ready for something new, something steady, yet alive, something that connects the truth of impermanence with the peace of the present moment. The Buddha rises and steps toward a quiet clearing filled with gentle stillness, inviting you forward. With the truth of impermanence settling peacefully in your heart, you follow him into the space where the present moment reveals its simple, beautiful clarity. The Buddha walks ahead into the clearing, and the soft ground beneath your feet feels warm, as though the earth itself is breathing with you. The truth of impermanence still lingers gently within your chest, settling deeper with every step. You feel lighter, not because life has changed, but because your way of meeting it has softened. The Buddha pauses in a quiet patch of open space, where the air seems to hold a stillness different from any you've felt before, calm, steady, and full of presence. He turns to you with a peaceful expression, inviting you to arrive fully in this moment. You sit beside him, feeling the subtle hum of life around you. The grass sways softly. The distant rustle of leaves moves like a faint whisper. Even the air seems to glow with something delicate. The Buddha encourages you to place both hands on your knees and let your mind settle here, not in yesterday, not in tomorrow, but exactly where your body is resting. For a brief moment, your thoughts drift again, small, wandering shapes returning from habit. But the Buddha remains still, showing you how to anchor yourself not by fighting the wandering, but by noticing the breath. You inhale gently, feeling the cool air expand through your lungs. You exhale slowly, letting the warmth soften your belly. The mind begins to settle naturally, just as dust settles when the wind grows quiet. You take another slow breath, and the world sharpens into clarity. You notice the feeling of the ground beneath you, solid, supportive, steady. You notice the temperature of the air brushing your skin. You notice your own heartbeat, steady and calm. The Buddha explains quietly that the present moment is not something you chase or achieve. It is always here, waiting beneath the noise of your mind, ready whenever you choose to return. He invites you to observe what presence feels like in your body. You sense the looseness in your shoulders, the spaciousness in your chest, the ease in your jaw. All of it is part of being here, fully here. You notice how different it feels compared to the restlessness you carried earlier. The storm, the weight, the tightness. Presence does not erase those experiences, but it gives them space to be understood without overwhelming you. The Buddha guides your attention to the sounds around you. At first, they seem faint. The gentle hum of wind, the distant chirp of a tiny creature, the soft movement of leaves brushing against each other. But as you listen more closely, each sound becomes distinct, layered, meaningful. None of them rush, none of them demand. They simply exist, unfolding moment by moment. He reminds you that presence is found not in stillness alone, but in awareness. The kind that notices life as it flows, without trying to control or change it. You feel a deep calm settle into your stomach, as though your whole body is leaning into this simple truth. You breathe again, deeper this time, and the clarity expands further. The Buddha encourages you to bring your awareness inward. You observe the sensations in your body, warmth, tingling, the gentle rise and fall of your chest. Each sensation is part of the present moment, each one a doorway into deeper peace. Even the thoughts that drift through your awareness become softer, like clouds drifting across a blue sky. You don't cling to them. You simply watch them come and go, just as you learned before. As your awareness deepens, the Buddha shares something quietly profound. That presence is the foundation of peace. It is the place where suffering loosens its grip, where clarity grows, where the heart finds rest. Without presence, even joy becomes fleeting, lost in the rush of expectation. But with presence, even ordinary moments become full of depth, warmth, and meaning. You sit with him in silence, letting this truth echo gently within you. The world around you feels alive, yet soft. Nothing pulls you forward, and nothing drags you back. You simply exist, comfortable, calm, aware. In this stillness, you begin to notice something new, something subtle. Beneath the calm, beneath the peace, there is a faint stirring, a deeper awareness awakening within you. It feels like the beginning of wisdom, like intuitions forming quietly at the edges of your consciousness. The Buddha senses your shift and rises slowly, offering his hand for you to stand with him. He looks toward a pathway lined with soft light, a path filled with clarity and introspection. You follow him, feeling your connection to the present moment deepen with every step. The quiet wisdom within you grows brighter, guiding you forward. Ahead, the path leads into a space where the mind becomes not just present, but deeply aware of the nature of thoughts, feelings, and reality itself. With your breath steady and your heart open, you walk with the Buddha toward the deeper layers of mindfulness that await. The Buddha walks ahead along the softly lit path, and the quiet you've cultivated settles around you like a gentle mist. Your breath is steady, your heart is open, and the present moment feels like a companion walking beside you. The ground beneath your feet is warm, almost humming, as though the earth itself recognizes the calm growing inside you. The Buddha slows his pace, letting you feel the spaciousness of your own mind, a space made clearer by everything you've released so far. You move into a small grove where the trees form a natural circle, their leaves glowing faintly with an inner light. The air here feels different, thicker with insight, softer with truth. As you step into the center of the grove, you sense that this is a place where deeper awareness lives, waiting for those who are ready to listen. The Buddha sits beneath the largest tree, and you join him, feeling the ground support you as though it has been expecting you. With a calm gaze, the Buddha encourages you to close your eyes and turn inward again. But this time, not toward your breath, or your body, or even your heart. Instead, he invites you to listen for the quiet wisdom within you. It doesn't shout. It doesn't demand attention. It waits patiently behind the highs of daily life, behind the rush of thoughts, behind the ever-changing emotions. You sit in silence, breathing softly, letting the stillness deepen. At first, your mind offers familiar patterns, random memories, tiny worries, plans forming without permission. You notice them, but you don't follow them. You allow them to rise and fall, like leaves drifting through a gentle breeze. Beneath them, beneath everything you normally hear, you sense something deeper, an inner knowing that moves slowly, like a river flowing beneath the surface. The Buddha guides you to imagine entering that river. You step into its cool water, feeling it wrap around your ankles, your calves, your knees. It isn't cold. It is refreshing, grounding, steady. As you move deeper, you sense the current, slow, powerful, ancient. This river is your inner wisdom, always flowing, even when you forget to notice it. You let it carry you gently, supporting you, teaching you without effort. The Buddha's voice drifts through the grove, reminding you that wisdom doesn't come from force or searching. It emerges naturally when the mind is quiet enough to hear it. You float along the river, feeling it guide you toward insights you've carried within you all along. Truths about your strength, your resilience, your ability to let go, your capacity for compassion. These truths rise like soft bubbles from the depths, surfacing gently beside you. One bubble rises with a message you didn't know you needed. You have survived every moment you once thought you couldn't. You let that truth rest against your chest, warm and settling. Another bubble rises with quiet clarity. Every challenge has taught you something that shaped your heart. You breathe into that softness, sensing how much wisdom you already hold simply from living, from feeling, from trying. The Buddha explains that true wisdom does not rely on perfection. It grows from experience, from reflection, from honesty. It grows when you stop running from yourself and begin listening closely, gently, courageously. The river beneath you glows faintly now, illuminated by your understanding. You close your eyes, feeling the flow of deeper truth moving through you. You begin to notice subtle insights arising, small realizations about who you are, what matters to you, where your heart naturally leans. These insights do not overwhelm you. They arrive with softness, offering guidance rather than demands. You sense how different they feel from fear-driven thoughts or pressured expectations. This wisdom is calm, patient, compassionate. The Buddha watches you with serene approval, sensing the way your awareness is expanding. The grove around you seems to brighten, as though the trees themselves recognize the shift happening within you. Your mind feels spacious, as though new doors are opening in rooms you've never visited. You stand slowly, feeling the wisdom within you settle like a warm stone at the center of your being. The Buddha rises too, and together you walk out of the grove. The world ahead feels clearer, not because everything has been solved, but because you understand that you can meet whatever comes with grounded awareness and inner guidance. As you step forward, the air begins to carry a soft vibration, a sense of connectedness that stretches beyond yourself, beyond your thoughts and emotions, reaching into the world around you. The Buddha senses your attention shifting and guides you toward this new sensation, inviting you to explore the deeper connection you share with all living beings. You follow him, feeling ready to open your awareness even further. Ahead, the path leads into a space of unity where your inner wisdom meets the broader truth of interconnectedness that binds all things. The path beneath your feet widens as you walk beside the Buddha, opening into a valley bathed in warm, shifting light. The air carries a delicate hum, as if something unseen is vibrating gently through every tree, every blade of grass, every breath you take. You feel it first as a subtle tingling in your chest, then as a softening behind your ribs, as though the quiet wisdom you discovered has begun to reach outward, touching the world around you. The Buddha pauses here, sensing your growing awareness, and invites you to look more closely at the landscape unfolding before you. You see a field filled with countless tiny lights, flickering like fireflies, but anchored to the ground by fine threads of shimmering energy. Some glow softly, others pulse gently, expanding and contracting with each moment. As you step forward, the threads reveal themselves more clearly, each one connecting one point of light to another, weaving a delicate web across the entire valley. You feel the connection immediately, not in your mind, but in your body. A subtle pull, like a quiet heartbeat, shared across distance. The Buddha kneels by one of the glowing points, motioning for you to join him. When you touch the ground near it, a gentle warmth rises up through your fingertips, traveling into your palm, your arm, and finally settling into your chest. You sense the presence of something living. Not just the earth itself, but the quiet energy of all beings who walk upon it. The Buddha explains softly that this web is always here, even when you cannot see it. Every action, every word, every thought sends ripples across this network, touching more lives than you realize. You sit beside him, feeling the steady glow of the valley wash over you. You think of the people you've met, the brief interactions that lingered, the smiles exchanged with strangers, the tiny acts of kindness that once felt insignificant. Now, through this glowing web, you can sense their impact. The way one gentle moment can brighten a distant thread, the way a small kindness can ripple across the heart of someone you may never meet again. The realization deepens your breath, grounding you in a truth both humbling and comforting. The Buddha encourages you to close your eyes and feel the connection more directly. As you inhale, you sense warmth rising from the earth into your body. As you exhale, a soft glow radiates from your chest, joining the network of lights around you. You begin to realize that you are not separate from this web. You are part of it, a glowing point connected to countless others. Your presence affects the world, and the world gently shapes you in return. A faint vibration travels through the web, reaching your chest like a gentle echo. It carries the quiet emotions of others: joy, sorrow, longing, hope. None of it is overwhelming. It feels like standing at the edge of a shared ocean, sensing its rhythm without being pulled under. The Buddha explains that compassion strengthens through understanding interconnection. When you recognize the shared struggles and joys of others, your heart naturally expands, softening further into empathy. You open your eyes, and the glowing threads seem brighter now, stretching far beyond the valley into the distant mountains, into the sky, into the world you know so well. You imagine the people who have walked into your life, even briefly, how their presence added threads to your own path. You feel gratitude bloom quietly within you, warm and expansive. The Buddha smiles, sensing the shift, and places his hand lightly on your shoulder. You rise with him as the valley hums softly around you. The threads brighten and dim, like breathing, steady and interconnected. You begin to see how your own journey, your struggles, your growth, your healing, has always been linked to others. Nothing you've felt has ever been yours alone. Every life touches another, forming a tapestry of shared experience that stretches across time and space. As you walk onward, guided by the Buddha's calm presence, a deeper understanding settles within you. Interconnection is not just a concept. It is something you feel, something you live. It brings comfort to know you're never alone, and responsibility in realizing your words and actions matter more than you once believed. The Buddha guides you toward the edge of the valley, where the glowing web slowly blends into the surrounding landscape. Ahead lies a path that leads into a quieter, more reflective space. You feel a gentle pull inward, as though the connection you felt is guiding you not outward now, but deeper into yourself. There is something within you that needs tending, a seed that has been quietly waiting for the right moment to grow. You take a slow breath, feeling the earth beneath your feet, the threads around you, and the warmth inside your chest. Together with the Buddha, you step onto the path that leads into a space of deep honesty, where you will explore not how you connect with others, but how you connect with your own truth. The path narrows as you follow the Buddha, and the glow of the interconnected valley slowly fades behind you. In its place rises a quieter, more intimate sense of stillness, like stepping into a gentle dusk where everything slows to a soft, thoughtful pace. The air feels cooler here, carrying a hush that invites honesty, the kind that comes not from pressure, but from finally feeling safe enough to listen. The Buddha moves at an unhurried rhythm, allowing the silence between you to deepen without discomfort. Every step feels like a descent into the deeper chambers of your own being. He leads you into a secluded hollow surrounded by tall trees whose branches create a sheltering canopy overhead. The ground is soft, blanketed by fallen leaves that muffle every sound. The Buddha stops in the center of the hollow and turns to face you with eyes that seem to see far beneath the surface. His gaze is calm, steady, reassuring. You know without words that this is a place meant for truth, your truth, the one that rises only when all the noise has finally quieted. You sit with him on the soft ground, feeling the weight of your body settle into the earth. A gentle breeze passes through the hollow, carrying with it the faint scent of pine and soil. It brushes softly against your face, as if encouraging you to loosen the protective layers you've worn for so long. The Buddha invites you to close your eyes, not to shut out the world, but to open the inner door that leads to the center of your being. When your eyes fall shut, you become aware of your breath once more. Slow, warm, familiar. It leads you inward, past your thoughts, past your emotions, past everything you've already released. You go deeper still, into a quiet chamber where your truest self resides. A self that doesn't hide, doesn't pretend, doesn't perform. A self that simply exists. The Buddha's voice enters this inner space like a soft lantern glow. He tells you that inner truth is not something dramatic or loud. It is gentle. It is steady. It waits patiently beneath the layers you've built to protect yourself from the world. To reach it, you need only sit with openness, allowing what rises to rise without fear or resistance. A sensation begins to form in your chest, warm, steady, like a small flame glowing in the darkness. You sit with it, breathing softly. As you breathe, the flame grows brighter, revealing shapes within your inner space. These shapes are truths you've carried for a long time, truths that have been waiting for you to look at them without judgment. One truth rises gently, like a hand reaching toward you. It may be something simple, an acknowledgement of what you need or what you've been longing for. Perhaps it's the realization that you've been tired for longer than you admitted, or that you've been strong for everyone but yourself. You feel the truth settle into your heart, and instead of fear, a calm acceptance washes through you. Another truth rises, this one heavier, but wrapped in compassion. It might reveal a place where you've held yourself back, or a part of your life where you've struggled silently. The Buddha places a gentle hand over yours, letting you know that truth is never here to harm you. It is here to free you. You breathe with it, letting the compassion cultivated earlier soften any sharp edges. The truth becomes lighter, easier to hold. The Buddha encourages you to look deeper still. In the quiet of your inner chamber, you begin to see a clearer picture of who you are beneath all expectation and habit. You see your resilience, your tenderness, your longing for peace, your desire to grow. You see the moments when you spoke your truth and the moments when you silenced it. You see the ways you have protected yourself, the ways you have loved, the ways you have tried. None of it overwhelms you. All of it feels like pieces finally coming together. You open your eyes slowly, and the hollow around you feels brighter. The Buddha watches you with a knowing expression. He sees the shift, the soft settling of authenticity, the quiet alignment of your inner world. You feel lighter, clearer, more honest with yourself than you have in a long time. As you stand with him, a gentle peace settles into your chest, not from solving everything, but from finally seeing yourself with clarity and kindness. The Buddha begins walking again, guiding you toward another part of your inner landscape. You sense that with this new understanding, you're ready to explore something even deeper. The way your inner truth meets acceptance, not as a concept, but as a lived experience. With a steady breath, you step toward the path of acceptance, walking beside the Buddha into the next unfolding of your journey. The path winds gently between tall, whispering trees, and the Buddha walks beside you with a quiet steadiness that eases your breath. The truth you uncovered within yourself still glows softly in your chest, warm and steady, like a lantern cupped in your hands. With every step, that glow feels less fragile and more like something that belongs to you, something that has always belonged to you. The Buddha senses this subtle shift and leads you toward a clearing bathed in soft, muted light, the kind that appears just before dawn, when the world holds its breath in anticipation. The clearing feels different from the spaces you've passed through before. There is no pull, no ache, no lingering heaviness. Instead, it holds the gentle neutrality of a quiet room waiting to be filled. The Buddha stops in the center of it and turns to you with a look that is both kind and profoundly calm. Here, he says, without speaking, is where acceptance begins. Not in force, not in resignation, but in understanding what is already here. You take a seat on the cool earth, feeling its firmness beneath you. The world around you grows very still. Even the breeze slows its movement, as if encouraging you to settle fully into this moment. You close your eyes, and the Buddha invites you to revisit the truths that surfaced earlier, not to judge them, not to change them, but simply to acknowledge their existence. Truth, when held gently, becomes the first seed of acceptance. You breathe softly, letting the awareness of those truths rise again within your heart. You see your strengths, your vulnerabilities, your longings, your regrets. They do not clash or compete. They simply sit beside each other like guests in a quiet room. Acceptance begins to form not from trying to change them, but from allowing them to simply be what they are. The Buddha's voice enters the stillness, soft and steady. He explains that acceptance is not surrendering to difficulty or giving up on change. It is recognizing what exists in this moment without pushing it away or forcing it into something it is not. Acceptance is the gentle hand that rests on your shoulder and whispers, "This is where you are. This is who you are. And this is okay." As you sit with that truth, a deeper calm spreads through your body. You place a hand over your chest, feeling the steady rhythm beneath your palm. The heartbeat you've carried through joy and sorrow continues its quiet work, unbothered by expectation. It beats through truth and through confusion, through clarity and through doubt. Its unwavering rhythm reminds you that acceptance lives in every breath, every pulse, every moment you choose to be present. The Buddha motions for you to look within again, this time not at your entire story, but at something simple. Choose one part of yourself or your experience that you've struggled to accept. Perhaps it's an old mistake, a wound you couldn't heal, a part of your personality you've judged harshly, or a moment you wish you could change. Whatever appears first, let it rise gently into your awareness. You notice a small tightening in your chest as it surfaces, but the Buddha's presence keeps you grounded. You breathe slowly, allowing the discomfort to soften with each exhale. You do not reject this part of yourself. You do not force yourself to embrace it either. You simply acknowledge it. This is acceptance's first step, seeing without resistance. Gradually, the tightness begins to ease. You look at this part of yourself the way the Buddha looks at you, with compassion, with understanding, with patience. You begin to see that acceptance is not about perfection, but about honesty. It holds space for what is difficult while keeping the heart open. The Buddha lifts his gaze toward the sky, inviting you to do the same. The clouds drift lightly across the clearing, forming shapes only to shift again moments later. Nothing stays fixed. Nothing is expected to be flawless. Everything is allowed to be exactly what it is. As you watch, you feel something inside yourself mirror that fluidity, loosening the grip of old expectations you once placed upon yourself. A sense of relief washes through you, not dramatic, but gentle and steady. Acceptance feels like letting out a breath you didn't realize you've been holding for years. It feels like resting your head on soft grass after a long journey. It feels like being welcomed into your own life without conditions. When you stand again beside the Buddha, your heart feels lighter, as though space has opened within you. The clearing behind you remains peaceful, carrying the imprint of everything you've acknowledged. The Buddha smiles softly, sensing that you are now ready to take the next step, one that leads not just inward, but outward toward a deeper peace with the world around you. You walk with him toward a path glowing faintly with warm light, knowing that acceptance has prepared you to explore the profound stillness that lies ahead. The Buddha guides you gently along a narrow trail that winds deeper into your inner landscape. The air grows quieter, softer, as though the world is holding its breath. Everything around you feels muted but warm, as if wrapped in a blanket of evening light. The acceptance you cultivated still lingers in your chest like a steady glow, and with each step, you feel yourself settling more fully into who you are. The Buddha walks just ahead, his presence a reminder that you're not walking this inner journey alone. The path leads you to a sheltered space surrounded by smooth stones that seem arranged by nature itself. A gentle pool of water rests in the center, so still that it mirrors the sky above without distortion. The Buddha kneels by the pool and invites you to do the same. As you look into the reflection, you notice something striking. Your face appears calm, unburdened, softened by everything you've explored so far. He encourages you to gaze deeper, not at your reflection, but beneath it. The surface of the pool ripples slightly as a breeze passes through, but even the ripples fade quickly, returning the water to its pure stillness. The Buddha points to this quiet moment, showing you that beneath every disturbance, stillness is always waiting. It is not created. It is revealed. You close your eyes, letting the idea sink into your heart. Your breath slows. Your shoulders relax further. Your mind begins to settle like dust falling to the ground. In this stillness, you sense the truth of what the Buddha is teaching. That beneath every emotion, no matter how strong, there is a steady place within you, untouched by chaos. Beneath every worry, every storm of thoughts, every surge of feeling, there is a deeper calm. The Buddha guides you to place your hand over your heart, and as you do, you feel a soft vibration. Not the pounding rush of emotion, but a quiet hum, steady and ancient. This hum is the stillness beneath all things. It has been with you since the beginning. It has never left. You simply forgot how to listen. You breathe into that stillness, allowing it to expand slowly within you. It spreads from your chest into your shoulders, easing tension you didn't realize you were still holding. It travels down your arms, softening your fingers, your palms, the backs of your hands. It drifts into your stomach, loosening knots formed by years of stress and unspoken fears. It settles into your hips, your legs, your feet, grounding you in a way that feels almost sacred. The Buddha watches you quietly, sensing the shift as your awareness deepens. He reminds you that stillness is not the absence of noise or feeling. It is the quiet space beneath them, the one you can return to no matter what storms arise. You begin to understand that peace is not something to chase, but something to uncover, layer by layer, breath by breath. The pool before you remains calm, reflecting the world without grabbing onto anything it shows. The Buddha encourages you to treat your mind the same way, to let thoughts come and go without clinging, without pushing them away, without letting them define you. When the mind becomes like still water, every insight, every truth, every moment of clarity becomes naturally visible. You feel something subtle rise within you, like a small spark of understanding flickering to life. The stillness gives space for this spark to breathe. You begin to see how often in your life you've reached outward for peace, searching for it in achievements, relationships, distractions, or moments of escape. Yet all along, peace was within you, resting beneath the noise. The Buddha places his hand lightly on your shoulder, grounding the realization. He gestures for you to look at the pool again. When you open your eyes, the water seems to shimmer softly, not from movement, but from depth. You see not just your reflection, but the quiet beneath it. This sight settles something deep inside you. As you rise, the ground feels softer under your feet. The air feels warmer against your skin. The stillness you uncovered doesn't disappear when you stand. Instead, it travels with you, like a gentle companion resting at the center of your being. The Buddha steps forward once more, inviting you to follow. You feel ready, supported by the deep calm now rooted in your chest. Ahead, the path leads into a subtle shift in the landscape, one where fear begins to loosen its hold and truth becomes clearer. With one last look at the calm pool, you walk beside the Buddha toward the space where you will learn to see life not through fear's distortions, but through the quiet clarity you have begun to cultivate. The trail ahead feels softer beneath your feet as you and the Buddha leave the still pool behind. The calm you uncovered continues to glow inside you like a quiet ember, steady and warm. The trees around you open into a gentle meadow, touched by streams of pale sunlight that fall through the branches like soft, golden silk. As you walk, you notice how effortlessly your breath moves now, no longer tangled with tension or hurried by old worries. The Buddha glances at you with a small, knowing smile, as if he can already feel the clarity beginning to rise within you. He leads you toward the center of the meadow, where the ground dips slightly, forming a natural bowl of soft grass. You sit with him in that tender hollow, and the world feels unhurried, as if time has loosened its grip just enough to let you observe everything with new eyes. The Buddha gestures toward the meadow stretching before you, asking you to look, not with the mind that fears, but with the mind that sees. At first, you take in the scene the way you always do, the shifting grass, the trees swaying, the distant call of a small creature hidden somewhere among the roots. But then the Buddha lifts a hand, palm open, and invites you to soften your gaze. Not to stare, not to analyze, just to see. As your eyes relax, something subtle changes. The meadow becomes more than shapes and colors. It becomes movement, rhythm, life. You notice small details that escaped your attention before. The curve of a leaf, the almost invisible shimmer of air rising from the ground, the way shadows dance gently beneath the branches. Nothing is dramatic. Nothing demands your attention. Yet everything seems clearer, sharper, more honest. The Buddha explains softly that fear narrows the mind. It shrinks your view of the world until all you can see is what might hurt, what might fail, what might go wrong. When fear leads, perception bends, and life begins to appear darker than it truly is. But clarity, true clarity, comes from seeing life as it unfolds, without adding the shadows of imagined danger. You breathe into that thought, and the meadow brightens a little more. You remember moments in your life when fear colored everything, when your mind jumped ahead to the worst possibilities, closing you off from truth, from softness, from peace. The Buddha senses your reflection and rests his hand gently on the grass beside you, grounding the moment. He guides you inward again, asking you to bring to mind a situation in your life you may have viewed through the lens of fear. Perhaps a decision, a memory, a conversation, even something that hasn't happened yet but lingers in your thoughts. As the image forms, you feel a faint tightening in your chest, but instead of turning away, you stay with it, breathing gently. The Buddha encourages you to look at this situation through a softer lens. Instead of seeing only what could go wrong, he asks you to notice what is actually present, the reality beneath the imagined fear, the truth beneath the projection. Slowly, the image becomes clearer. The fear loses its edge. You begin to see things as they truly are, less threatening, more manageable, more human. A calm settles into your body as you realize how often fear has tried to protect you, even when protection wasn't needed. Fear is not your enemy. It's simply a messenger. But without clarity, fear becomes a storyteller that distorts the world around you. With clarity, the stories fall away and truth rises in their place. The Buddha lifts his gaze to the sky, inviting you to look up as well. The clouds drift without urgency, their forms changing moment to moment. None of them cling to a single shape. None resist the wind. They simply shift as they are meant to, revealing that change is gentle when you meet it without fear. You feel the lesson settle inside you, like a stone dropped into still water, subtle, steady, spreading outward in quiet ripples. The meadow around you no longer feels distant or overwhelming. It feels familiar, welcoming, safe. You begin to understand that when fear loosens its hold, the world reveals its natural softness. The Buddha rises, and you follow, feeling lighter than before. Clarity has opened something within you, a space where truth can breathe. And as you step forward with him, you sense another layer waiting within yourself, another part of the journey where your growing insight begins to guide your steps. Ahead, the path narrows into a gentle walkway lined with shimmering leaves, each one catching the light like tiny lanterns. With calm settling deeper into your heart, you walk beside the Buddha into the next chapter of your unfolding awareness, ready to explore the path of insight that awaits. The shimmering leaves along the narrow path catch the light as you walk, each one glowing like a small lantern guiding your steps forward. The clarity you found in the meadow lingers softly in your chest, making the world feel open and gently revealing. The Buddha walks beside you in perfect calm, his presence a reminder that every step on this inner journey is taken with intention, patience, and understanding. The air feels lighter here, carrying a faint warmth, as though insight itself is settling into the landscape. The path leads you toward a quiet garden enclosed by tall bamboo. Their long stalks sway with a slow, rhythmic grace, whispering softly with every movement. The Buddha steps inside the garden and invites you to follow. As you enter, you notice that everything here seems designed for contemplation. The stones are placed with care, the flowers bloom with quiet dignity, and the small water basin at the center reflects the sky with perfect stillness. It is a place where truth can rise naturally, without strain. The Buddha sits near the water basin, and you take a seat beside him, feeling the calm ground support your body. He explains that insight does not arrive in sudden flashes alone. It grows like a seed, nourished by awareness, honesty, and gentle attention. The truths hidden within your everyday life are often subtle, waiting patiently behind the surface of your reactions, thoughts, and habits. When the mind becomes quiet enough, these truths reveal themselves like fireflies emerging in evening light. He encourages you to bring your attention to a moment from your life, something small, something that may have seemed unimportant at the time. As you reflect, a memory rises softly, a conversation, a glance, a quiet moment you barely noticed before. You look at it now with clear eyes. The Buddha invites you to ask what this moment was trying to show you, what truth it carried that you may have missed. As you observe the memory with gentleness, you begin to notice details that slipped through your awareness before. The tone of someone's voice, the emotion beneath your reaction, the way your body felt in that moment. With each detail, understanding deepens. You see what you didn't see then, a hint of vulnerability in another person, or perhaps your own unspoken need. The memory transforms from something ordinary into something meaningful. Insight rises like a small, warm light in your chest. The Buddha watches quietly, sensing the shift within you. He encourages you to let another small moment surface. This time, you choose something more recent, a fleeting frustration, a moment of sadness, a spark of joy, a sudden irritation. You observe it gently, without judgment. Beneath the surface, you find the real cause of your reaction, a longing, a fear, a hope. It becomes clear that many moments in your life have been carrying messages you were too rushed, too overwhelmed, or too guarded to notice. Each insight feels like a lantern illuminating a new part of your inner world. The path you've walked before begins to look different, not because the world changed, but because your understanding deepened. You realize that even the most challenging moments have offered you teachings disguised in difficulty, and the softest moments have carried wisdom disguised as simplicity. The Buddha encourages you to look inward again, this time not at a single memory, but at the pattern that links them together. You begin to see the quiet truths that shape your life, the way you protect your heart, the way you seek connection, the way you respond to uncertainty. Instead of feeling overwhelmed, you feel grounded. These truths no longer frighten you because clarity has softened their edges. As the insights continue to bloom, you sense something shifting deeper within you. The Buddha places a hand on the water basin, drawing your attention to the reflection on its surface. The sky above the garden is mirrored perfectly, but when a breeze passes, the reflection ripples gently. The Buddha explains that insight is like seeing the sky reflected in water, clear when the mind is still, distorted when the mind is troubled. But even the ripples carry meaning. They show you the movement of your inner world, the patterns hidden beneath your reactions. You breathe deeply, letting the lesson settle into your bones. Insight feels less like discovery and more like remembering something you've always known, like recognizing a truth that has been whispering to you for years, waiting for this moment of clarity. When you stand with the Buddha, the garden feels brighter, as though the lanterns within you are lighting the space around you. You walk with a deeper awareness now, feeling each step with intentional calm. Ahead, the path begins to darken slightly, not with danger, but with depth. The Buddha guides you toward a place where the shadows of your inner world wait to be met, not with fear, but with the same gentle insight you've begun to cultivate. And with steady breath and open heart, you walk beside him into the quiet space where your shadow self awaits its moment of compassion. The path grows darker as you walk with the Buddha, not with fear, but with depth, like stepping into the quiet shade of an ancient forest. The lanterns of insight you gathered in the bamboo garden still glow softly inside you, lighting your steps from within. Leaves rustle overhead in slow, thoughtful movements, and the air feels cooler, denser, as if holding the stories you've avoided or forgotten. The Buddha walks calmly, unhurried, his presence steady enough to make even the shadows feel less intimidating. He leads you into a small clearing surrounded by tall trees, whose branches stretch high above like sheltering arms. The ground here is soft and slightly darker, as though the soil has been shaped by countless moments of reflection. The Buddha motions for you to sit with him, and you lower yourself onto the earth, feeling it support your weight with quiet acceptance. The Buddha tells you that within all people exists a shadow self, the parts of ourselves we push away, fear, or misunderstand. Not because they are bad, but because they are wounded, forgotten, or overwhelmed. These shadows carry emotions we never learned how to soothe, mistakes we still hold on to, fears we never voiced, and versions of ourselves we believed weren't worthy of love. As you listen, you feel a gentle pressure in your chest, the kind that comes when something inside recognizes the truth. He encourages you to close your eyes. The clearing becomes a space of inward vision. With your breath soft and steady, shapes begin to form in the quiet darkness behind your eyelids. Faint at first, like distant figures moving through fog. One of them steps forward, stopping just at the edge of your awareness. You sense it more than you see it, a presence built from pieces of your experience. This presence feels familiar, the emotional weight you once carried, the fear behind your defenses, the mistakes you replayed in silence. The Buddha stays beside you, his calm anchoring you as the shadow stands before you. There is no judgment in this meeting, no pressure, just a quiet invitation to finally look at what you once turned away from. The shadow doesn't speak. It simply waits, as if hoping you'll acknowledge it. You breathe slowly, letting compassion soften the tight places within you. When you look at the shadow, you begin to see not darkness, but depth. You sense the pain it held on your behalf, the burdens it carried because you didn't know how to release them. You realize the shadow was not your enemy. It was a younger version of you, trying to protect your heart the only way it knew how. The Buddha encourages you to approach the shadow with tenderness, not to push it away, not to force it into the light, but to sit with it as you would sit with a frightened child. You offer it a gentle look, a calm breath, a willingness to understand. As you do, the shadow shifts, its edges softening, its form becoming clearer. You begin to see traces of your own face in it, your younger self, your wounded self, the parts of you that tried so hard to be strong. A wave of compassion rises in your heart, warm and steady. You place a hand over your chest, feeling the connection between who you are now and who you once were. The shadow seems to sense your kindness, and it relaxes, its posture loosening, its presence becoming less tense. For the first time, you see it not as something to fear, but as something that has been waiting for your love. The Buddha gently reminds you that healing begins when you allow yourself to be whole, not by rejecting the parts that feel messy or painful, but by embracing them. You breathe into this truth, and the shadow begins to glow faintly, as if your compassion is lighting it from within. The heaviness it once carried starts to lift, dissolving into the stillness of the clearing. As the shadow fades, you feel a deep tenderness for yourself, a softness you may have withheld for years. You understand now that every fear, every wound, every past mistake holds a story. And those stories shaped you, taught you, protected you when you didn't know how to protect yourself. Meeting your shadow with kindness reveals that you've never been broken, only divided, waiting to be brought back into wholeness. The Buddha stands and offers you his hand. You rise with a new sense of strength, quiet, grounded, compassionate. The part of you that once hid in darkness now rests peacefully within your heart. The clearing brightens slightly, the trees no longer looming, but standing tall, like guardians witnessing your growth. As you walk with the Buddha out of the clearing, you feel the ground lighten beneath your feet. With your shadow acknowledged and embraced, you are ready for the healing that comes next. The path ahead opens into a soft glimmer of light, leading you toward the freedom of forgiveness and the unfolding of your heart's deeper peace. The forest thins as you walk beside the Buddha, and the shadows that once felt heavy now seem softer, as if touched by a new light within you. Meeting your shadow self has loosened something deep inside, an old knot that kept your heart tied to moments long past. The path opens into a gentle valley where the air carries the scent of blooming flowers, sweet and calming. A quiet breeze brushes your skin, as though inviting you to breathe more deeply, to release more fully. The Buddha pauses here, sensing that your heart is ready for a deeper unfolding. You follow him into the center of the valley, where a single large tree stands with sprawling branches that cast a wide circle of shade. The ground beneath it is cool and soft, welcoming you as you sit beside the Buddha. He closes his eyes for a moment, and when he opens them again, his gaze is warm with understanding. He explains, without speaking a word, that this place is meant for forgiveness, not as an obligation, but as a blessing for your own heart. You take a slow breath, letting the air fill your lungs and soften your chest. Somewhere inside, you can feel the weight of old memories, moments when hurt lingered longer than you intended, moments when someone's words or actions carved a small ache into you, moments when your own mistakes left shadows you struggled to look at. The Buddha encourages you to let these memories rise gently, one at a time, not to judge them, but to acknowledge them. The first memory rises like a fragile flame, a moment when someone's actions wounded you in a way that stuck to your heart. You feel the sting of it even now, though quieter, less sharp. Instead of pushing it away, you breathe into it. The Buddha invites you to see not just the pain, but the humanity behind it. You sense the confusion, the fear, the imperfections of the person who hurt you, not as excuses, but as reminders that beings who suffer sometimes create suffering. A soft compassion begins to rise within you. It doesn't erase what happened. It doesn't dismiss the hurt, but it opens space around it, loosening the tightness it once held. You whisper inwardly a small offering of release, not for their sake, but for your own. As you breathe, the knot around that memory begins to unravel, thread by thread. The Buddha guides you to let another memory surface. This one carries the weight of your own regret, something you said or did in a moment of confusion or fear. These wounds are often the hardest to face. You feel a heaviness in your chest as the memory forms, but the Buddha rests his hand lightly on yours, reminding you that self-forgiveness is an act of courage, not weakness. You breathe softly, offering yourself the same kindness you would give to a friend. Slowly, the sharp edges of your regret begin to soften. The valley around you seems to brighten with each breath you take. Forgiveness doesn't arrive all at once. It unfolds like morning light, touching everything gradually, patiently. You feel the weight inside you lighten, the way a tightly held rope slowly loosens after years of strain. You realize that forgiveness is not forgetting, nor is it pretending. It is simply choosing to no longer carry what has already passed. The Buddha lifts his eyes to the sky, encouraging you to look up as well. Sunlight filters through the branches of the great tree, shimmering like soft gold. Each beam feels like a blessing, a quiet reminder that the world continues to move forward, offering new beginnings with every breath. You sense that forgiveness is a form of freedom, the freedom to step out of old stories, old pains, old identities that no longer serve who you are becoming. You place a hand over your heart, feeling it beat steadily, lighter, softer, more open. The memories that once weighed heavily now feel like pages in a book you can close with gentle acceptance. The Buddha smiles, seeing how your heart has expanded, not by force, but by allowing compassion to flow where pain once lived. When you stand, the air feels different, warmer, calmer, clearer. You feel more rooted in yourself, more connected to the world around you. The burdens you released do not leave emptiness behind. They create space, space for healing, space for peace, space for growth. The Buddha begins walking again, guiding you out of the valley and toward a landscape filled with warm light and stillness. With forgiveness softening your heart, you feel ready for what comes next, discovering how presence itself can become a deep, natural medicine, soothing the parts of you that are still learning to heal. The Buddha leads you out of the valley of forgiveness and onto a quiet path where the light drifts gently through the trees, soft as breath. The air feels different now, lighter, as though the world has opened a small doorway for your heart to rest more easily. The weight you released lingers only as a faint memory, like the echo of a closed chapter. As you walk, the Buddha steps slow, inviting you to notice the simple rhythm of the moment, the sound of leaves brushing against each other, the warm earth beneath your feet, the steady rise and fall of your breath. Presence moves toward you like a warm breeze, subtle and healing. He guides you into a meadow that glows with afternoon light. Wildflowers sway gently, each petal catching the glow in a way that makes them seem almost alive with breath. A calm stream flows at the far end, its surface glimmering with soft ripples. The Buddha kneels beside the stream and gestures for you to join him. When you sit, the world around you seems to quiet even more, as if every sound is tuning itself to your inner stillness. The Buddha invites you to place your hands on your knees and breathe, not simply to relax, but to feel the full presence of your breath. You inhale, noticing the cool air entering your body, and exhale, sensing the warmth leaving you. The rhythm is steady, natural, unforced. Each breath feels like a gentle sweep, clearing away remnants of old tension. You begin to understand that presence is not a technique, it is a returning, coming home to yourself moment by moment. The Buddha's voice is soft as he explains that wounds do not heal by being ignored or buried. They heal when brought into the light of presence, where they can breathe and soften. You feel his words settle into your chest, loosening places that still hold tightness. He encourages you to bring your awareness to a place within you that still feels tender, a spot where grief, worry, or old hurt may linger quietly. As you turn your attention inward, you notice a subtle ache, small but real. It rests behind your ribs like a forgotten whisper. Instead of pushing it away, you simply breathe near it. The ache doesn't grow stronger, it softens. The Buddha tells you that presence is the balm that reminds your hurts they are safe to unfold, safe to be seen, safe to let go. You let your breath cradle the ache, and slowly it untangles, releasing warmth instead of pain. The stream beside you flows with the same steady peace you feel building within yourself. You watch its ripples dance across the surface, each one forming, expanding, and fading without struggle. The Buddha explains that healing follows the same natural rhythm: gentle, patient, unhurried. The more you sit with your experiences, rather than running from them, the more they loosen their grip. You place your hand over your heart and feel the subtle shift happening inside. The tenderness is not gone, but it has changed shape. It feels less like a wound and more like a soft memory, one that no longer demands attention, but accepts the comfort of being held. Presence has a way of turning pain into wisdom. Quiet, grounded, steady. The Buddha invites you to close your eyes once more. In the darkness behind your lids, you notice the smallest movements of your inner world: the pulse at the base of your throat, the expansion of your lungs, the warmth of your palms. Every sensation breathes with life. You begin to see that healing has already been happening throughout your journey, not with force, but with gentle attention. When you open your eyes again, the meadow around you seems brighter. Colors appear richer, the breeze softer, the sound of the stream clearer. Presence sharpens your senses in a calm, natural way, making the world feel new without overwhelming you. The Buddha smiles, sensing the peace that has begun to settle deeper into your being. He rises and gestures for you to touch the surface of the stream. When your fingertips meet the cool water, it sends tiny ripples outward, gentle waves that carry your presence into the wider world. The Buddha explains that when you are present, your healing touches everything you do, everything you see, every path you walk. You stand beside him, feeling a renewed strength, a quiet inner resilience that comes not from holding on tightly, but from choosing to meet each moment with openness. The Buddha begins walking again, guiding you toward a path where the sunlight grows warmer and the ground feels steadier beneath your feet. With healing blooming softly within you, you're ready to explore the deeper strength you've carried all along, one born from your journey, your patience, your heart. You walk with him, prepared to rediscover the inner resilience waiting to be seen. The Buddha leads you along a gentle slope where sunlight spills softly across the path, warming the earth beneath your feet. The healing presence you cultivated in the meadow lingers within you, like a quiet ember glowing steadily at your center. With every breath, it seems to brighten, illuminating parts of yourself you once overlooked. The air feels lighter now, carrying hints of pine and warm soil, inviting you to breathe a little deeper. As the Buddha walks with calm certainty beside you, you begin to sense a strength rising quietly inside, one that feels familiar yet somehow renewed. He brings you to a high ridge overlooking a wide expanse of your inner world. Below, you see gentle fields, winding streams, soft forests, and places you've already visited on your journey. From above, everything seems connected. Every challenge, every moment of clarity, every emotion you've met with compassion. The Buddha's eyes soften as he notices your gaze growing thoughtful, your breath deepening. He gestures toward the landscape, encouraging you to notice not just where you've traveled, but how you've traveled. You sit on a smooth stone at the ridge's edge, and the Buddha sits beside you. He invites you to revisit your journey, not through criticism or comparison, but through recognition. You think back to the early storms of your mind, the tightness you once held in your body, the emotions that rose like crashing waves, the shadows you met with trembling hands, and you begin to realize something quietly profound. You have moved through each moment with more strength than you ever gave yourself credit for. The Buddha speaks softly, reminding you that strength is not the absence of fear, nor the refusal to bend. True strength is the ability to remain open when life grows heavy. It is the willingness to feel, to soften, to breathe, even when uncertainty surrounds you. As his words settle into your heart, you feel the truth of them resonate through your chest like a steady drumbeat. You place a hand over your heart and feel its rhythm, calm, strong, unwavering. It has carried you through every experience, every joy, every ache. You begin to see your heart as it truly is. Not fragile, but resilient. Not weak, but quietly powerful. The challenges you faced have shaped you, not by hardening you, but by teaching you how deeply you can endure. The Buddha invites you to reflect on moments in your life when you rose even though you were tired, when you tried again even though doubt whispered at your edges, when you offered kindness despite your own wounds. These moments appear slowly, like lanterns lighting one by one across your memory. Each lantern reveals another piece of your strength, subtle, humble, and steadfast. A warmth spreads through your chest as you sit with these memories. You begin to understand that strength does not roar. It does not demand attention. It lives in the quiet choices you make every day. Your effort to heal, your desire to grow, your courage to face what you once avoided. The Buddha nods gently, sensing your awareness deepening. He lifts a small stone from the ground and places it in your hand. The stone is smooth, warm from the sun, shaped by years of river currents and shifting earth. This, he says without words, is strength. Not rigid, not unyielding, but shaped by time, softened by experience, made resilient through movement and change. You close your fingers around the stone and feel its weight, its warmth, its quiet endurance. As you breathe, you sense that same endurance within yourself. Your inner strength is not something new. It is something you are finally recognizing. It has always been there, guiding you through storms, urging you to stand again, helping you trust the next step, even when the path was unclear. You rise slowly, holding the stone as a reminder of what has always lived inside you. The Buddha stands with you, his calm presence echoing your newfound steadiness. The ridge feels different now, less like a place to observe from, and more like a place to gather yourself before continuing forward. When you begin walking again, your steps feel firmer, grounded, supported by the strength you've uncovered. The world around you brightens subtly, as though responding to your inner shift. The Buddha leads you toward a pathway lined with golden grass that sways gently in the warm breeze. You sense that the next part of your journey will invite you to embody this strength, to trust it, to walk with confidence born not from ego, but from clarity and compassion. With a steady breath and a calm heart, you follow the Buddha toward the place where confidence begins to bloom. The golden grass along the path sways gently as you walk with the Buddha, each blade brushing softly against the others like quiet affirmations carried on the breeze. The strength you uncovered on the ridge still warms your chest, lingering like a steady heartbeat, reminding you of how far you've come. The Buddha walks beside you with a peaceful certainty, as though he can already sense the confidence waiting patiently within you, ready to rise. The air grows warmer, more open, as the path widens into a field bathed in calm sunlight. The Buddha stops at the edge of the field, inviting you to step into the open space. There are no trees here, no shadows, nothing to hide behind, just soft earth and endless sky. At first, the openness feels unfamiliar, almost vulnerable. But the Buddha's presence reassures you, reminding you that confidence does not come from shrinking or hiding. It grows when you allow yourself to stand fully in the light of who you are. He gestures for you to stand tall, feet firmly planted on the warm ground. You feel the earth beneath you, solid, steady, unwavering. The Buddha asks you to close your eyes and breathe deeply, letting the strength you discovered earlier rise through your body like a gentle tide. Your spine lengthens, your shoulders relax, your chest expands. You feel yourself rooting into the earth, grounded yet lifted at the same time. The Buddha explains softly that true confidence is not loud or forceful. It does not shout, nor does it demand. Real confidence is quiet, steady, and rooted in clarity. It is the calm trust in your ability to meet each moment as it comes, knowing you carry wisdom, compassion, and resilience within you. As his words settle, you feel a subtle shift within your body, an opening, a settling, a recognition. He encourages you to place a hand over your heart. Beneath your palm, your heartbeat is steady, strong, and unmistakably alive. You realize that confidence begins here, in acknowledging your worth without needing anyone else to confirm it. You breathe into that truth, letting it spread through your chest like warm sunlight. The Buddha then guides you to recall moments in your life when you doubted yourself, when you hesitated, when you felt small. These memories rise gently, like leaves floating on a quiet stream. Instead of shrinking from them, you observe them with compassion. You see how fear once shaped your steps, how uncertainty dimmed your voice, how you sometimes hid parts of yourself to avoid being judged or misunderstood. But now, standing in the open field with the Buddha beside you, those old patterns soften. You begin to understand that confidence isn't about always knowing what to do. It's about trusting that you can handle whatever arises. You can rise, adapt, learn, and return to your center. The field around you seems to respond, its light brightening as your awareness deepens. The Buddha invites you to open your eyes. When you do, the world seems wider, clearer. The sky stretches endlessly above you, filled with soft clouds drifting like gentle thoughts. The Buddha asks you to take one step forward, just one, and notice how your body feels. You take the step, and something inside you steadies. Another step, and the ground seems to meet you with confidence of its own. Each movement becomes a declaration of presence. I am here. I am enough. I am capable. The Buddha smiles softly as you walk further into the field. He tells you that confidence grows through action, but the action begins within. With every breath you take, you affirm your place in the world. With every step, you strengthen the trust you place in yourself. Confidence is not a performance. It is an inner alignment with your truth. You pause in the center of the field, feeling the openness around you echo the openness growing inside. The sunlight warms your skin, and a soft breeze lifts your hair. You stand tall, steady, grounded. The Buddha's presence feels like a gentle anchor, reminding you that this confidence is yours, wholly, naturally, authentically. As the warmth of the field settles into your body, you sense a new readiness forming within you. Confidence has softened your edges, grounded your steps, and awakened a calm sense of trust. You feel prepared now to move more fluidly with life, to meet its changes with grace rather than resistance. The Buddha begins walking again, his pace relaxed and rhythmic. You follow him with ease, each step lighter than the last. Ahead, the path bends gently toward a landscape where movement replaces stillness, where flow becomes the rhythm of your inner world. And with confidence now rooted in your heart, you walk forward with a quiet strength, ready to explore the gentle art of moving with the flow of life. You walk with the Buddha along a winding path where the golden field gradually softens into rolling hills. The warmth of confidence still glows inside you, steady and reassuring. Each step feels lighter now, as though the earth itself rises gently to meet your feet. The Buddha's pace is relaxed, almost rhythmic, and soon you find your body matching that rhythm naturally. The air carries a calm hush, like the world is adjusting itself to the ease now settling in your heart. You sense that this next part of your journey will teach you not just to stand strong, but to move with grace. As the hills open into a wide expanse, you hear the sound before you see it, the distant whisper of water flowing. The Buddha guides you toward it, and soon you reach a broad river, gliding smoothly through the landscape. Its surface glimmers under soft sunlight, shifting gently but continuously, never stopping, never forced. You and the Buddha stand at the riverbank, watching the water move around stones, over branches, past small dips in the earth, with effortless fluidity. The Buddha invites you to sit by the river, and you lower yourself onto the soft grass, feeling its coolness beneath your palms. He points to the flowing water, encouraging you to observe its movement. You notice that the river does not resist obstacles. When it meets something in its path, it doesn't push aggressively. It simply adjusts, curves, and continues forward. Its power is not in force, but in persistence. Its strength lies in its adaptability. As you watch, the Buddha explains that life flows just like this river. Moments rise and fall, circumstances shift, emotions come and go. When you cling tightly, resisting the natural movement of life, you feel tension, frustration, fatigue. But when you allow yourself to move with life, to adapt, to soften, to breathe through change, peace begins to form within you like a steady current. You close your eyes and feel the rhythm of your breath, blending with the river's movement, inhaling with the river's rise, exhaling with its gentle fall. As you settle into this rhythm, you begin to notice how often you've tried to control the flow of your life, pressuring yourself to hurry, to achieve, to meet expectations you never questioned. You see moments when you resisted change, holding tightly to what was familiar even when it no longer nourished you. These realizations surface gently, without judgment. The Buddha guides you to imagine your own life as a flowing river. As you visualize it, you sense currents where you moved easily, like times when things aligned naturally. Then you notice places where you resisted, where the water seemed to slow or churn. You breathe softly, allowing the image to unfold without trying to change it. A calm understanding settles in. You begin to see that your life doesn't need to be controlled. It needs to be met, moment by moment. The Buddha encourages you to place your hand into the river. When your fingers slip beneath the surface, the water cools and calms your skin. You feel the current move around your hand, gentle, steady, guiding without force. You let your hand drift with it, feeling how effortlessly it carries you when you stop resisting. The Buddha nods, seeing your awareness deepen. He reminds you that moving with the flow of life doesn't mean passivity. It means allowing life to unfold while staying connected to your inner truth. Like the river, you can navigate obstacles with grace, not by ignoring them, but by adjusting with wisdom. You realize that flow is not surrendering your direction. It is trusting that you can move with changes while staying grounded within. You sit quietly by the river, letting its movement reflect your own possibilities. Memories rise of times when you adjusted beautifully, moments when you embraced new beginnings, learned from challenges, or shifted paths with courage. These memories soothe you, reminding you of the resilience you've always carried. The sunlight ripples across the river, and the world feels spacious, alive, open. You understand now that joy enters naturally when the heart is not rigid. When you stop fighting life's currents, you make room for ease to enter, for simplicity to breathe, for peace to settle. The Buddha stands and extends his hand to you. You rise with a sense of gentle readiness, feeling that your steps now carry a softness you didn't have before. You walk beside him along the riverbank, your movements aligned with the quiet flow around you. As the path turns toward a meadow glowing with warm, vibrant light, you sense something brightening within you, an invitation to let joy enter without gripping it too tightly. And with the calm rhythm of the river still echoing in your chest, you follow the Buddha toward the place where joy becomes a gentle companion in your unfolding journey. You continue walking along the river with the Buddha, the soft rhythm of flowing water still echoing quietly in your chest. The landscape shifts once more as the ground rises into a gentle meadow filled with warm, golden light. The tall grass sways lightly, shimmering as though touched by joy itself. The Buddha pauses at the edge of this sunlit space, and you feel an invitation rise within you, an openness, a soft curiosity, a readiness for something bright yet gentle. With confidence settled inside you like a steady flame, the Buddha guides you forward into the meadow. As you step into the light, a warmth spreads across your skin, soothing and comforting. It feels different from strength, different from healing. It feels like joy, pure and simple. Not loud or overwhelming, not demanding or fleeting, but quiet and present, like sunlight resting on your shoulders. You breathe deeply, letting the warmth sink into your chest. The Buddha observes you with a small, knowing smile. He senses your heart opening to a new way of feeling. You sit with him in the center of the meadow, where the flowers bloom in soft clusters of yellow, white, and gentle pink. A faint breeze carries their fragrance across the air, sweet but delicate. The Buddha invites you to close your eyes and feel the light, not through sight, but through presence. When your eyes fall shut, the warmth of the sun settles deeper, almost like a hand resting tenderly over your heart. The Buddha explains softly that joy does not need to be created or chased. Joy arises naturally when the mind is calm, when the heart is open, when you allow yourself to be here without asking life to be any different than it is. You begin to sense the truth in his words. Joy is not something you must earn. It is a visitor that appears when you make space for it. Memories surface, unexpected moments when joy found you without warning. A laugh that came from nowhere. A quiet morning that felt peaceful for no particular reason. The comfort of someone's presence. The taste of a meal you loved. A single kind word. None of these moments were forced. They arrived gently, effortlessly. You realize that joy has been touching your life in small ways for years, waiting for you to notice. The Buddha encourages you to breathe with this understanding, allowing your heart to soften even more. As you inhale, the warmth expands inside you. As you exhale, your body releases tiny traces of tension you didn't realize you were still holding. Joy, the Buddha says, is not about grasping what is pleasant. It is about meeting the pleasant with gratitude and allowing it to move freely through your life. You open your eyes, and the meadow seems brighter. The flowers glow with a soft radiance. The sunlight feels warmer, more welcoming. The Buddha gestures to the petals drifting gently through the air, some carried by the breeze, others falling gracefully to the earth. Joy is like these petals. You can admire them, hold them for a moment, breathe in their fragrance, but they are not meant to be trapped. Their beauty comes from their movement. You watch one petal fall into your palm. You hold it gently, noticing its delicate edges, the softness of its texture. You feel a moment of joy, simple, pure, fleeting. And then, letting the breeze take it again, you feel another kind of joy, one that comes from release, from trust, from letting life move as it will. Your heart expands quietly. The Buddha guides you to notice the sensations within your body. There is lightness where heaviness once lived, warmth where coldness lingered, openness where tightness used to hold. You see that joy doesn't need to be large to be meaningful. It can be as small as a breath, as subtle as the sun on your skin, as gentle as a moment of ease. You lie back on the soft grass, and the sky stretches above you in a vast, peaceful blue. A feeling rises inside you, not excitement, not intensity, but a calm, steady joy. A joy that needs nothing extra. A joy that simply exists. The Buddha sits quietly beside you, honoring your experience without adding anything to it. After a while, you sit up again, feeling refreshed in a way that doesn't fade quickly. The Buddha explains that when you allow joy to come and go freely, your heart learns to stay open. Joy teaches your heart how to receive life without clinging, without fear of loss. It becomes a companion rather than a prize. You rise, sensing a gentle glow within you, light, soft, warm. The Buddha steps toward the far edge of the meadow, where the colors shift into a deeper gold, guiding you forward. Joy has awakened something tender inside you, and now your heart is ready to feel something even deeper. Gratitude, the quiet warmth that shapes every step with appreciation and presence. With a steady breath and a peaceful smile, you follow the Buddha toward the place where gratitude begins to bloom. The Buddha walks with you toward the far edge of the meadow, where the golden light deepens into a soft amber glow. The joy that filled you moments ago still lingers like a gentle warmth in your chest, steady and bright. As you move forward, that warmth begins to change, expanding, softening, shifting into something deeper. The Buddha senses this unfolding and slows his steps, guiding you into a quiet grove where the air carries a familiar comfort, like stepping into the embrace of an old friend. The grove is calm and welcoming, its trees tall and graceful, their leaves rustling with a soothing whisper. Tiny rays of sunlight filter through the branches and scatter across the ground in warm patches, each one glowing like a small blessing. You settle onto the soft earth beside the Buddha, feeling the stillness gather gently around you. He closes his eyes for a moment, inviting you to do the same. When your eyes fall shut, you bring your awareness to your breath. Steady, calm, familiar. You sense the warmth of joy still within you, and then you feel something else rising underneath it. A quiet appreciation, a soft recognition. The Buddha guides you to place a hand over your chest, right where the warmth gathers. You breathe deeply, allowing that warmth to expand with each inhale. He speaks softly, reminding you that gratitude does not come from extraordinary moments. It grows from the simple ones, the breath that carries you through your days, the sensations that remind you you're alive, the smallest sparks of beauty you encounter without expecting them. As you listen, something inside you opens. The warmth in your chest begins to spread gently outward. You allow your mind to wander back along the path you've traveled so far. You recall your first steps into your inner world, the moments when doubt clouded your vision, the storms you weathered, the shadows you faced with trembling hands. And then you remember the clarity you found, the strength you uncovered, and the joy you allowed to touch your heart. Each moment feels like a small gift, a quiet offering from life itself. The Buddha invites you to breathe gratitude into each memory, one at a time. You feel thankful for the softness that healed you, for the truths that revealed themselves, for the courage that carried you. You find gratitude even for the difficult moments, recognizing how they shaped your compassion, your resilience, your understanding. The warmth in your chest grows richer, deeper, like a gentle flame brightening from within. You open your eyes slowly, and the grove seems to glow around you. The sunlight looks warmer, the leaves more vibrant, the air sweeter. Gratitude has changed the way you see everything, not by altering the world, but by softening your heart. The Buddha gestures to the light filtering through the trees, encouraging you to notice how each patch of brightness touches the ground with quiet generosity. Nothing is taken for granted in this grove. Everything is received with presence. The Buddha invites you to raise your face toward the sky. As you do, you feel sunlight touch your cheeks, warm and tender. You sense gratitude rising in you, not as a thought, but as a feeling, a gentle wave that moves through your entire being. You are grateful for the warmth, for the breath, for the simple fact that you are here, alive, present in this unfolding moment. Gratitude, the Buddha explains, does not require perfection. It does not ask for everything to be easy. It simply invites you to notice what is good, what is steady, what is quietly supporting you. You begin to see how much you've overlooked, the tiny comforts, the brief moments of kindness, the chances to begin again. As the warmth grows, your heart begins to soften in a new way. You feel more open, more connected, more willing to receive. The Buddha encourages you to place both hands over your heart now, feeling its steady rhythm beneath your palms. You breathe gently, allowing gratitude to sink deeper, filling the spaces that once felt empty or cold. For a long moment, you sit in silence with the Buddha, surrounded by the warm glow of the grove. You feel a stillness settle into you, not the stillness of quietness alone, but the stillness that comes from appreciation, from being rooted fully in the present moment. When you finally rise, the world around you appears touched by golden light. The trees sway gently, as if acknowledging your shift. The earth beneath your feet feels welcoming, steady. Gratitude has not only warmed your heart, it has prepared it for something even more tender. With the Buddha beside you, you walk forward, carrying this warmth like a gentle lantern inside your chest. Ahead lies the path where this gratitude blossoms into something deeper, an unfolding of love for yourself, pure and compassionate, ready to be discovered. You walk beside the Buddha as the warm glow of the gratitude grove softens behind you. The light ahead becomes gentler still, shifting into hues of rose and pale gold, like the first light of dawn stretching across a quiet sky. The air feels warmer here, almost tender, wrapping around you with a calm that sinks deeper than simple comfort. The Buddha moves at a slower pace, giving you time to feel the warmth still lingering in your chest, the gentle fullness that gratitude awakened. Something inside you feels ready, ready to open, ready to soften, ready to receive a love that has been waiting for you all along. He leads you into a serene garden, tucked within the embrace of tall flowering trees. Their blossoms unfurl in soft shades of white and blush pink, petals drifting gently across the air like falling whispers. A small pond rests in the center, its surface dotted with lotus flowers in different stages of bloom. Some are still tightly wrapped, others half opened, and a few spread wide in their full glory. The Buddha guides you to sit beside the pond, the reflection of the blossoms shimmering on the water like quiet blessings. He asks you to look at the lotuses, how each one opens in its own time, with its own shape, its own pace. None are rushed, none are compared. Each blossom is accepted exactly as it is, appreciated for its unique unfolding. You breathe deeply, letting that image settle into your heart. The Buddha explains gently that self-love grows in the same way. It unfolds slowly, naturally, beautifully, when nurtured, not forced. You place your hand over your chest, feeling the steady rise and fall of your breath. There is a tenderness there you didn't recognize before, a softening you can almost touch. The Buddha encourages you to notice the ways you've grown throughout this journey, the fears you faced, the truths you embraced, the burdens you released. You begin to see yourself with kinder eyes, recognizing how much courage it took simply to be here. As you breathe, memories surface. Moments when you judged yourself harshly, when you doubted your worth, when you held yourself to standards you would never impose on someone you loved. The memories float upward like small, fragile petals, ready to be seen. Instead of tightening, your heart softens around them. You understand now that you were doing the best you could with the knowledge you had. The Buddha places a hand near yours on the grass, grounding the moment with silent compassion. He invites you to imagine speaking to yourself the way you would speak to someone you care for, deeply, with gentleness, with patience, with warmth. You close your eyes and try it. You offer yourself a kind word, simple and pure. It feels unfamiliar at first, but then something shifts. The warmth in your chest expands, filling spaces you never realized needed light. You feel the beginning of forgiveness, not only for past mistakes, but for every moment you expected yourself to be more than human. The Buddha guides your attention to the pond again, where a single lotus slowly begins to open. Its petals part gently, revealing a soft glow in its center. You realize that the lotus mirrors something happening within you. A part of your heart that has long been closed is beginning to open too. Not all at once, but enough to let love in. You breathe into that opening, and a wave of tenderness rises. A love that feels different from anything you've known. It is not loud or overwhelming. It is gentle, steady, patient. It is the love that comes from seeing yourself clearly and choosing to care for what you see. The Buddha explains that self-love is not pride or vanity. It is honoring your worth, honoring your effort, honoring the journey you walk each day. It is recognizing that you deserve kindness, not someday, but now. You sit with that truth, letting it wash over you like warm sunlight. The garden around you seems to glow brighter, the petals drifting more softly, the air warming with each breath. You begin to feel a connection to yourself that is deeper, more compassionate, more whole. You realize that self-love is not a destination. It is a practice, a way of being, a continued unfolding, just like the lotus. The Buddha rises and offers you his hand. You take it softly, feeling a new strength moving through your fingers, a strength born not from force, but from love. As you stand, the garden feels transformed. The lotuses, the blossoms, the warm air, they all seem to echo the same message. You are deserving of your own kindness. You walk with the Buddha out of the garden, the warmth in your heart growing brighter with every step. Ahead, the path leads into a peaceful landscape where the love you've begun to cultivate becomes the foundation for a deeper, more lasting peace. You walk with the Buddha out of the lotus garden, the warm glow of self-love resting gently within your chest. The air around you feels different now, lighter, softer, almost shimmering with a quiet calm. Each breath seems to move more smoothly through your body, as though nothing within you is fighting anymore. The Buddha leads you along a path lined with tall, slender trees whose branches sway with slow, graceful movements, creating a gentle rhythm that seems to echo the peaceful beat of your heart. The ground beneath your feet that is covered with soft moss, cool and comforting, cushioning each step. The Buddha slows his pace, inviting you to notice the ease that has begun to settle into your body. Your shoulders rest naturally. Your hands feel relaxed. Even your thoughts move more gently, like ripples spreading across still water. You begin to recognize that this peace, growing inside you, is no longer just a moment. It is becoming a way of being. The Buddha guides you toward a clearing where sunlight falls in shaky beams between the branches above. The space feels open yet sheltered, bright yet soothing. He invites you to sit, and as you lower yourself onto the warm earth, a quiet hush settles over the clearing. You sense that this is a place meant for learning how to live from the calm you've cultivated, not just feel it. He encourages you to bring your attention to the rhythm of your breath. With each inhale, you feel peace rise gently, filling your chest, your belly, your entire body. With each exhale, you feel a subtle release, like your heart letting go of the last remnants of tension. The Buddha explains softly that peace is not an escape from life. It is the way you meet life, with clarity, with compassion, with steadiness. You let this truth settle into you, noticing how your breath becomes a quiet anchor. When your mind wanders, it returns easily to the calm within your chest. When emotions stir, they rise and fall without clinging. When you reflect on moments of the past or wonder about the future, they no longer pull you away from the present. You are here, fully, without effort. The Buddha guides you to imagine a moment from your daily life, a simple moment, perhaps a conversation or a task or a choice. He invites you to picture how you might meet that moment from a peaceful heart. You see yourself pausing before speaking, breathing before reacting, softening before judging. You watch yourself moving with intention, making space for understanding, responding with clarity rather than impulse. Each small shift feels transformative. You realize that peace is not passive, it is powerful. It allows you to see clearly, act wisely, and listen deeply. It helps you choose your words with kindness, your thoughts with awareness, your actions with compassion. The Buddha nods gently as he senses this understanding blooming within you. He encourages you to recall a recent moment of tension, a disagreement, a misunderstanding, a moment when frustration stirred within you. Instead of tightening around it, you breathe. You feel your peaceful heart creating space, softening the edges, reminding you that you don't have to react from fear or anger. You can respond from calm. You can respond from truth. The moment becomes lighter, more manageable, less overwhelming. A warm breeze flows through the clearing as if affirming the shift taking place within you. Leaves flutter and dance, catching the light in soft flashes. The world feels gentle, and for the first time, you realize that this gentleness is not outside you. It is radiating from within. The Buddha invites you to place both hands over your heart again. You feel its steady rhythm, grounded and peaceful, beating with a wisdom older than any thought. This is the heart you carry into the world, not the heart burdened by old fears or weighed down by unhealed wounds, but the heart healed by self-love, softened by gratitude, strengthened by compassion. He stands and gestures for you to rise. As you do, you feel taller, lighter, more centered. You walk through the clearing, and everything around you seems to move with you. The breeze, the sunlight, the soft sway of branches. Peace isn't something you visit anymore. It has become the foundation you walk upon. The Buddha leads you toward a path where the trees thin, revealing a landscape more open and expansive. You sense something shifting gently within you, a widening, a deepening. Your peaceful heart is ready to expand outward, to see the world not through old patterns or expectations, but through eyes softened by compassion. With a steady breath, you follow the Buddha toward the place where your vision will transform and where compassion will guide the way you see every living being. You follow the Buddha toward the open landscape ahead, your heart resting in a gentle calm that feels deeper than anything you have known before. The world seems wider now, not because the land has changed, but because your perception has softened. The trees at the edge of the clearing sway with a slow, almost affectionate rhythm, and even the faint rustling of leaves carries a tenderness that settles quietly inside your chest. The Buddha walks at a thoughtful pace, giving you space to feel the peaceful rhythm of your heart as it guides you forward. He leads you into a valley filled with soft, rolling hills and clusters of wildflowers blooming in warm hues. The sky above stretches endlessly, painted in delicate shades of gold and soft blue. As you walk, you notice the presence of small creatures moving gently through the grass, birds hopping playfully, insects humming in gentle patterns, tiny animals darting quietly under leaves. Each movement feels purposeful, delicate, and deeply alive. The Buddha stops at the crest of a hill and invites you to sit beside him. From here, you can see the entire valley. But now, something subtle shifts in your awareness. You don't just see the valley, you feel it. The sunlight warming the hilltop warms your skin too. The breeze brushing across the flowers feels like the same breeze that carries your breath. There is no separation between you and what lies before you. The Buddha explains softly that compassion begins with this understanding, the recognition that all beings, no matter how small or distant, share a common thread. Every creature you see is navigating its own path, carrying its own joys, its own fears, its own longing for peace. You bring a hand to your heart as you absorb this truth, feeling it resonate gently in your chest. He invites you to recall a person from your life, someone you've seen often, perhaps even someone you've struggled with. As their image arises in your mind, the Buddha encourages you to imagine their inner world, their hopes, their worries, their unseen burdens, their quiet wishes for comfort and belonging. You begin to sense the humanity beneath their actions, and compassion rises within you like a warm tide. You breathe softly, understanding now that compassion is not agreement or approval. It is recognition. It is seeing beyond behavior into the tender space where all hearts carry their wounds and dreams. You feel your chest expand with a gentle tenderness that feels both powerful and fragile at once. As you sit with this awareness, the valley before you becomes even more vivid. You notice how the flowers tilt toward the light, how the birds move in pairs, how the breeze carries seeds from one hill to another. Everything in nature supports something else. Nothing exists alone. The Buddha points toward a small sapling growing near your feet, fragile, thin, but standing tall. You sense the life moving through it, the same life that moves through you. The Buddha invites you to look inward again, this time at the moments when you struggled, the times when you felt afraid, lost, or overwhelmed. You feel compassion rise for your past self, understanding now that you were simply doing your best with what you knew. Your heart softens even further. This self-compassion becomes a doorway, one that opens naturally into compassion for others. You look out across the valley once more, and your perception shifts again. Each flower seems to pulse with its own quiet story. Each bird carries its own purpose. Each blade of grass stands despite wind and weather. You sense the resilience of life, the vulnerability of life, the beauty of life, all woven together. The Buddha gently reminds you that when you see the world through compassionate eyes, you no longer move through life feeling separate. You become part of a larger, interconnected whole. Compassion becomes your way of seeing, your way of listening, your way of understanding. And with compassion guiding your vision, wisdom begins to grow naturally, soft, steady, illuminating. You rise from the hilltop, feeling the valley's gentle breath move through you. The Buddha walks ahead, and you follow with a heart that feels open and spacious. The world looks different now, not because anything has changed, but because you have. With your vision softened by compassion, you feel ready for the next step of your journey, where understanding deepens into wisdom, and wisdom becomes the guide for every path ahead. You rise from the hilltop where compassion softened your vision. And as you walk beside the Buddha, the valley gradually fades into a landscape shaped by clarity. The air feels different here, lighter, sharper, yet still warm with gentleness. With every breath, the lessons of your journey settle more deeply into your bones, not as thoughts, but as truths you can feel. The Buddha moves with quiet certainty, and you sense that this part of the path is meant to teach you how everything you've gathered, your calm, your compassion, your strength, comes together as wisdom. You follow him through a forest of tall, ancient trees whose roots twist deeply into the earth. Their trunks rise like pillars of time itself, textured with years of growth and weathering. The Buddha pauses at one of the largest trees and lays his hand on its bark. You place your hand beside his, feeling the tree's steady, grounded presence. It is unmoving, yet alive, strong, yet gentle, rooted, yet reaching. The Buddha shows you that wisdom has the same essence. He guides you to walk slowly through the forest, inviting you to sense the world not just with your eyes, but with your whole being. You notice how the sunlight filters through the branches above in shifting patterns. You notice the scent of earth mixed with fallen leaves. You hear the soft echo of distant birds, the barely audible rustle of small creatures moving through the undergrowth. Everything feels purposeful, harmonious, connected. Wisdom arises in this kind of awareness, not as flashes of thought, but as a quiet harmony with the present moment. The Buddha leads you to a small clearing where a fallen tree lies. Its trunk is covered in moss, and tiny flowers have begun to grow around it. He gestures toward it, encouraging you to sit. As you settle on the moss-covered wood, you feel the texture beneath your palms, cool, soft, full of life, despite its stillness. The Buddha explains without words that wisdom understands cycles, beginnings and endings, growth and decay, rising and falling. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is useless. Everything transforms. You close your eyes and let the forest's rhythm move through you. You feel the presence of your own inner wisdom rising, quiet, steady, familiar. It is not something new. It is something you've been uncovering piece by piece. It formed when you learned to breathe through storms, when you faced your shadow with compassion, when you accepted yourself, when you opened to joy and gratitude. Wisdom has been growing in you all along. The Buddha invites you to think about your journey, not as a string of separate chapters, but as a single, unfolding path. You see how each lesson supported the next, how every challenge helped shape your understanding, how every moment of calm deepened your clarity. Wisdom is the thread that now weaves these experiences together. It gives shape to your choices, your actions, your way of seeing the world. He asks you to imagine walking through your life with this quiet wisdom guiding you. You picture yourself in familiar situations, speaking with someone who is hurting, making a difficult decision, facing uncertainty, meeting joy, meeting loss. In each situation, you sense a new steady presence within you. You listen more deeply. You move more gently. You speak with clarity instead of reaction. You respond from truth instead of fear. This is what it means to walk the path of wisdom, not perfection, but presence. When you open your eyes, the Buddha looks at you with a soft expression that feels like both encouragement and recognition. He sees the shift inside you, the way your heart has settled into a deeper understanding. You feel it too, a calm readiness, a grounded certainty, a quiet fullness. For the first time, you sense that wisdom is not something you visit, it is something you carry. You stand from the moss-covered trunk, and the forest seems to welcome your new steadiness. The air feels clearer, the sunlight brighter, the ground more supportive. Everything around you reflects the transformation within you. The Buddha begins to walk again, leading you toward a path that glows softly through the trees. You follow him, sensing that the journey is nearing its final movement, not an ending, but a gathering of everything you've learned, everything you've become. Ahead lies a place where the wisdom you've uncovered will guide you home, not to a destination outside yourself, but to the deepest truth of who you are. You walk with the Buddha along the softly glowing path that leads out of the ancient forest, and each step feels lighter than the last. The wisdom you uncovered still rests in your chest like a quiet flame, steady and warm. The world around you shifts into a landscape touched by gentle twilight, colors softened, edges blurred, everything wrapped in a peaceful glow. The Buddha moves with calm certainty, as though guiding you not toward a new place, but towards something that has been waiting within you all along. The trees gradually thin until the path opens into a vast, serene plain bathed in the tender hues of dusk. The sky stretches infinitely above you, painted in soft purples and pale gold, with stars beginning to shimmer like tiny blessings awakening in the heavens. The air is cool and soothing, carrying the faint scent of earth settling into night. You pause beside the Buddha, feeling the world slow, as if inviting you to take one final, deep breath before completing your journey. He leads you to a quiet hill, rising gently from the plain. The grass here is soft and silvery in the fading light, swaying with the rhythm of the evening breeze. You sit with him at the top, your body grounded, your heart open, your mind clear. From this high place, you can see every landscape you've traveled: forests, valleys, rivers, meadows, gardens, all stretching behind you like pages of a story written gently into the earth. The Buddha says nothing at first. He simply looks at the horizon and you follow his gaze. The sun dips low, casting a soft glow across the land, and in that glow, you feel something profound, a sense of coming home, not to a physical place, but to yourself. You close your eyes, breathing slowly, feeling the presence of every lesson settling inside you. The stillness you found in the depth of your mind rises like a peaceful tide. The clarity you gained from letting fear loosen its grip sharpens your inner vision. The insight you gathered illuminates parts of your heart once hidden in shadow. Your compassion expands gently, touching every corner of your being. Your strength roots into your bones. Your forgiveness lightens the spaces once heavy with old memories. Your self-love blooms like the lotus you watched unfurl. And peace settles over everything, forming a quiet, lasting calm. The Buddha encourages you to rest your hands on your knees and simply breathe. Inhale deeply, exhale softly. With each breath, you feel more centered, more present, more whole. You begin to understand that this entire journey was not about finding something outside of yourself. It was about remembering what has been inside you from the beginning. You let your awareness drift inward, into the quiet space behind your heart. There, you discover a presence that feels both familiar and renewed. It is you, the you that exists beyond fear, beyond doubt, beyond expectation. The you who is compassionate, wise, kind, and steady. The you who has walked through storms and sunlight alike, gathering truth with each step. A warmth spreads through your chest as you recognize this inner presence as your true home. Not a place you visit, but a place you inhabit. Not a temporary refuge, but a constant companion. The Buddha watches your realization unfold with a soft, knowing smile. He reminds you silently that the journey doesn't end here. Wisdom will continue to grow. Compassion will deepen. Strength will rise whenever needed. Peace will guide you through moments of turbulence. This path lives within you now, ready to be walked again whenever your heart needs it. Home is not behind you. It is within you. You breathe softly, letting the truth settle into every part of you. The stars above brighten, mirroring the light awakening inside your chest. The night grows gentle around you. It's quiet, a reminder that serenity is always possible when you return to yourself with patience and love. The Buddha stands beside you, his presence filled with peace. You rise with him, feeling your entire being rooted and light at the same time. He looks into your eyes, not with instruction, but with recognition. You have found your way home. As you take one final breath of the cool evening air, the world around you feels still and welcoming. You've walked through many landscapes, faced many shadows, met your own heart again and again. And now, with calm in your breath and wisdom in your step, you are ready to carry this peace into your waking world. You walk forward with the Buddha, not toward a destination, but into the quiet certainty that wherever you go, you carry home within you.